copy of it? It's something we did, I'm sure. If it's required. Yeah, if you got the letter back, Laura stuff for the rest, I had to get certification.
Facility opening, yes.
Talk about similar names, our meeting there, you had Curtis, Carrie, Emily,
Yep. Okay.
we're quite good friends. Anything.
Does your, is that what your cover says? Oh, you don't have it all, yeah.
I don't know where he is, and, or you can do it yourself.
Right.
Everything, I am hooked up to that, the library, hooked up to the cameraman. We need, this is the slides, this is a copy of the slides, this is what's on, or no, this is the packet, this is the slides. You don't necessarily need that as a particular, this is the packet, this is what you wanna take home. Absolutely have to take home. Doing two sides?
That's right.
Oh, good, they did them two sides, it should be fantastic, because there's a lot of. Yeah, that's great. Absolutely, okay.
Yeah.
Everybody have one of these? If you picked up, make sure you picked up both, and you have this one here that says keeping the government happy at the top. So make sure you have both, and not just the slides, because we will be using this little workbook for the entire class. You will need this, so they're back here, make sure you get one, there's also pens back here, here's my name on it. So make sure you don't just pick up the slides, make sure you pick up this one right here. The slides are not necessarily where you can see the slides, this is what you're going to be writing in and follow along.
Almost every single.
Man, this looks good.
So I haven't.
Small group shows in that space.
Did I tell you that the state is in 17 companies? Bad enough with tiny
Jessica and Thomas are married.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
So,
That's what I'm saying.
smart,
Exactly.
smart.
but like, but I don't know that.
He wrote, might be time for some complicated.
I would have absolutely no idea.
That's why I like that
The
too.
usual suspects are the usual suspects, right? What people can expect to see Taylor in that area. Right? You say, see Taylor, this exhibition is longer for you.
Now, there are lots of
You get a group show.
Which would
Right,
have been.
right, right.
Would have been.
Are you gonna do it like it, like,
Right.
you need to get.
It says here, these are only tax-exempt
No,
activities.
no, no,
Soon,
no,
you guys will organize because of scientific purposes.
Yeah, he's recording with the cameras and the live stream, and this is all being streamed. You need to get hooked up if you're going to do an introduction. He told me not to touch it. Okay. He's right. He's probably watching it. He's probably here. Oh, here he is. He heard us. We summoned him. There we go. Yeah, she's going to switch out her slides, and then I'm going to need to go back to my slides after she gives her introduction.
Well, I mean, you got the letter back from the rest, but I'm just curious what explanation
I mean, but absolutely, sometimes that happens. You know, it's all of those things. Who's this? I was like, who's leaving a little breadcrumbs. So, yeah. That's all. Do you want some snacks? Yes. Let's have snacks. As my young friend, Diane.
Yes.
Forgot about watching live streams. I made a blank slide, the last slide of the presentation and stuck them there.
Okay.
So they can
They're
see.
also right on the front page of my website, so just go to grassrootstaxes.com. I was trying to make a QR code, but I was like, where am I going to put it? Up here? Everybody's like already here, so like,
Nobody can come here and scan.
yeah. So it's like if they already have it, they just need the link. So yeah, I just put a link, grassrootstaxes.com. It's right there, like right under the first picture. So hopefully my life, I will say that a few times, in and out.
I mean, I get
Yeah.
calls about ours all the time. They said something about a thing and it was this and that. I'm like, oh yeah, it's on page 5. You know.
Yeah, that's true. So it's something they can click on. Yeah. So I get you confused. Isn't there another Kelly, or is that you're Kelly Haley?
Yeah.
But there's another Kelly, or is she not Kelly? The one with the red hair? She's about this tall. Maybe she's not Kelly. Maybe her last name's Kelly. She was the one who used to host. Anyway, she hosts me with the night ones. When I teach at night, she'd always be the one that would be here and throw me up. Cassie.
Yeah.
That's it.
There's no other calling maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cassie.
Cassie. She's adorable. Really? Good for her.
She started working to another place.
Oh, she's not here anymore. Oh,
She started working somewhere else and then
her and my son would come with me a lot of times. Her and my son, they would joke and rib me the whole time I was teaching. It was great. they were the hecklers in the back.
she was working somewhere else and then I think she started working from home for the same place.
Oh, good.
I can't remember. Yeah, never. I'm a horrible friend. Because I'm always here doing this.
It's hard with work friends. And when work friends, you're not work friends anymore. It's really hard to stay work friends. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but the friends, it can be 20 years, and that doesn't matter. So. Yeah, but you got the whole computer screen up here instead of, you have the computer, what is this? That's not PowerPoint?
No, it's just slides, PDF slides.
What happened to my PowerPoint? He had me with my PowerPoint.
It's the same. It's just
It's
PDF.
not. The PowerPoints have animations. Well, he had me hooked up just right. He had me fine. He had it in the computer and set up when I walked here. He just took it off. It was set up? Oh,
It's still there, Diane.
okay. So I can go back to the PowerPoint somehow?
Just need to put your flash drive back.
I don't know. They did it for me. I don't have a flash drive.
Where's the animation?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's on there, Diane.
Okay. Because that has the frame of the computer screen and stuff, and you're going to get notifications. That's not. There he is. Thank you.
PowerPoint is still there,
Okay.
just behind this window. When she's done with the intro, we will close this, go back to PowerPoint.
Okay. Do you have control from it up there?
I do
Or
not- No,
okay, so just use that one. Okay, that's fine. I can do that. Yeah, I got it. That's fine. Yeah, I got it. Oh, get some of my coffee.
She's decorating.
I know you want me to staple these, I don't know if you want them out now or later. Okay.
Yeah. I sent her that message last night.
Yeah, sure. Yes, yes.
She's like the real mayor and the real saint.
Oh, nice.
The person who
Color.
gets things done, but she. Just typical. She's actually.
Yep.
I was sitting here for a while. I'm not gonna squeeze you in recording.
$1,000. Who's wrong?
Weird.
I have them open for that fresh one, and they haven't gave across that, I'll wait and
He's
take
on.
that down.
What, like the?
And I knew, because I didn't know where you guys would end up.
Well, I'm gonna give her.
Parking, and I was like, oh, if I didn't know that I was. You just had to walk over there.
Yeah.
Got
it.
Yeah, exactly. We don't
I know that feeling.
Yeah, it's an event, right. She really is. What, and people try to, what are the next project behind you? They would have. They're like, I'm in the event too.
That refunded. We do another. You see part of what we're doing down a certain distance from here.
Call for display in City Hall.
And that, what are the? But like even like,
Yeah, it can't be, it has to be low enough for me, but it's 6 inches.
okay,
I'll call it.
okay,
6 inches.
okay.
Right, yeah, it's getting bigger than,
Square.
She said we just got.
like 40. Yeah, which is pretty big, but it can't take that.
Right. Oh, it's on like
That's
perpetual.
not, they need a 6 foot by 6 foot canvas.
Right.
There's more stuff in there.
See, your Secretary Nelson had the boulevard. Gets a mural next year. So another 100 feet.
We're changing and that's
Filling
getting
that retaining wall for
all the time and yeah, yeah, you know, as they get better, we'll switch out.
Next budget trick.
Yeah, big particular with our large vendor.
That was the guy from the fire department.
Is down there over now. Yeah, good, so we're ordering from Amazon, and how it can go. The budget you got to pass. This is an opportunity for a lesson on what they're.
I'm basically, I'm gonna have to go to the board,
I mean, I have a voluntary couple of
contribute, keep up some
budget
cool people that we can use.
that are not on budget.
After the pandemic, they kind of just like, no one's gonna run out of money, was a lot of
City council has voluntarily offered money. Or in another year, it can sit in that budget, capital, release.
Is that what, okay, so does that mean being voluntary? It's required this year.
Got whatever. Right,
Well, even small.
it's not 1%, right?
Official.
Like, it's got to be $1,000.
South Fair.
Is it so?
South
Is it-
Fair.
No, it's like, it's about
Okay, so what's going on?
plus.
You're getting all the social information, I don't need to.
Yeah.
So now we're just getting it fit.
No, I'm not like that, no. So staff is driving
I'm Facebook.
$40,000.
morning, everyone. There's a room mic. I'm gonna get next to the room mic. Good morning. Told you, I could use my teacher voice.
Good morning.
Good morning. The handy dandy remote control. See if I can follow the directions. Alrighty. My name is Karis Adams, and I work with Mid-America Arts Alliance as the as the Director of Organizational Services. Org services, in a sentence, we provide professional development and capacity building for other nonprofits. All right, I sold that one. This Essentials Workshop Series is where we come into a community, we offer something, right? We offer a workshop, a learning of some sort, and then we also ask, what more do you need? So this is a two-part event. I don't had too much coffee. It's a two-part event. You'll have a workshop up front, and then on the back end, we'll have a little break. 30 minutes of conversation if you would like. And Diane Hagerty is going to be our workshop presenter today. Give it up for Diane.
Document it.
Did it do it? It's okay, David, I got it. He's like, you did this already. There we go. So Mid-America Arts Alliance is a regional service nonprofit. You have 6 of them here in the US of A. Mid-America is the kind of Tornado Valley, if you will, if you remember that from elementary school. So we service Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Kansas, and Nebraska. We have a variety of programming that serves artists, organizations, and communities. I'll throw up that QR code later. I'll put some cards on the back, and we can talk about it another time. Because I want to get it started. Program partners, Cash, give it up for Cash! Cash works with creatives, organizations, and communities to empower a more inspiring, inclusive, and equitable Northwest Arkansas. They do a variety of programming throughout the Big Three. Should we say that? The Big Three?
Don't forget my hometown Siloam, though.
And the hometown of Siloam, which I affectionately called Siloam when I first moved here. The Texan in me puts the wrong accent on the wrong part of the word every time.
Follow us on follow our newsletter, and you will know all the
Fantastic newsletter. They have a YOLO series. They have several kinds of events that happen at the Medium. Big, beautiful space, networking, and they always feed you. They always feed you. So there's food over there that none of us want to take home. So as you are here today and you're enjoying, feel free to get up, get something to eat, sit back down, do your thing. Fayetteville Public Library is our other program partner. Give it up for Kelly. Fayetteville Public Library works to strengthen our community and empower our citizens through free and public access to knowledge. It was every place I've moved a lot in my life. I've been here for about 3 years. I get a library card, and this is one of the best libraries that I am so happy to support. So I just want to give it up to my program partners in this work. Today, we're kicking it off. It's 9:34, we're almost done. So the essentials agenda for today, Diane is going to present from 9:30 to 11. We'll have a short potty break. If you don't know, there are water fountains and restrooms down on the right. And is the cafe open?
No, it does not open until tomorrow. I just want to check.
Man, the cafe.
Call us down there to lunch, so.
Yes.
But
The cafe.
The Arcega's in front.
Arcega's in front of us.
Yeah, Arcega's in front is open.
Doesn't open.
Yes. So we don't have a cafe on this floor just yet, but again, coffee and food that we don't want to take home. Restrooms and water fountains are down on the right. And then after that, from about 11 a.m. to noon, I heard that we have the room a little bit longer, so we can always stretch out a little bit. But from 11 a.m. to noon, we'll have an arts ecosystem conversation. That's when I ask you all, those of you who are working in the field here, who have lived here way longer than I have, what does your nonprofit system need, right? The ecosystem need. What are the challenges? What are the opportunities? How can Mid-America provide for Fayetteville or Northwest Arkansas, right? And so that's really it. Let's see what other slide I got cooked up. Oh, and now it's for Diane. I'm going to read your bio. You ready? Diane is an expert in taxes and has over 30 years of experience in small businesses, nonprofit, and individual taxation and compliance. She is the owner of Grassroots Taxes in Springdale and hosts the Grassroots Taxes YouTube channel and blog. I'll make sure to send that to all of you later. Diane holds a bachelor's degree in accounting and is licensed by the IRS as an enrolled agent, their highest credential. Good for you.
Diane's the government.
What'd you say?
I don't mess with the government.
I don't either. Diane's mission is to help taxpayers understand the law, avoid costly mistakes, and pay the least amount of taxes possible. And so with that, we're going to keeping the government happy, nonprofit compliance and reporting with Diane Hagerty. Come on.
Yay! Okay. I'm going to start talking while I'm getting organized. I got a little bit to get organized here, but first, I promise you, I cannot teach accounting in an hour. Nope. I cannot teach Form 990 in an hour. Yeah, we got to go to start. There you go. Start from beginning. There we go. I can't teach the 990. The class that I take, a review class taught by the IRS, I take it every year, is 2 hours just on the 990, and that's for professionals who do it every year. And that's just updates. So I'm going to try and cover as much as I can, as quickly as I can. Now, first of all, everybody have one of these packets. Just not these packets. Not this one. This is the slides. Don't want the square. This one here, says keeping the government happy. Fayetteville Public Library, Grassroots Taxes. Thank you, David. He's a god, by the way. Thank you so much. Everybody need to give it up for David.
Thanks, David!
I would break everything. All right, this probably needs to move not in front. I probably need to do this way, don't I? So it's not in front, because I'm on. I want to say hi to my live stream audience. If everybody's there yet, hi live stream people. Maybe my grandkids are out there. Hi guys, it's Dee Dee. They're home from school today sick, so. Anyway, make sure you have this packet, because we are going to be going through this packet. I'm going to be referring to the pages in this packet the whole time. You're going to be writing stuff on this packet. You need this packet, so if you don't have one, they're in the back. If you don't have a pen, there's a whole bunch of pens with my name and, no, okay. So make sure everybody's got a pen and a packet, okay? We're gonna start, we're gonna start with general compliance. Like all the government things I don't need to move this so you can hear me. There we go. All the stuff that you need to make all these other government agencies happy and all the stuff you can get for free. And then we're gonna take a little break, do a little review, and then we're gonna do state stuff, keeping the state happy because they're the worst, right? And then they're the most, they will interfere with nonprofits. The federal government, very rarely, they're like, yeah, whatever. You're doing good stuff, we don't care. But, no. We don't want to mess with the state. So let's start my first slide. Oh, and then at the end we're doing the federal. But we're going to take 2 short breaks, 2 little breakout thinking sessions. And then at the end, I will answer all your questions. I will not get in my car and leave until I've answered every single one of your questions. Live stream people, I believe they can ask questions. I don't know. Oh, they can ask questions. Well, I have no idea. Email me if you have questions. I will answer everybody's questions if I can. I will not leave until I'm sure everybody is set. Okay?
Diane, they can text me at 479-427-9668, and I will.
Wait, hold on. Come closer. Say that again here.
Live stream people, you can text me at 479-427-9668, and I will ask your question for you.
Ooh. So if you're up there listening, we'll go, well, I'll re-say that after the break, when we take a little break, and we'll come back. But if you don't have a packet and you're online, to go to grassrootstaxes.com. Right there on the first page, I'll make 2 links. If y'all want to download these, would rather have digital ones, grassrootstaxes.com. Right there on the front page, the packet and the slides, okay? So, wait. What, this is not doing anything.
Pointed at the computer?
Pointed at the computer. No. I need to summon that Dave guy again. Summoning the Dave. I don't know. Okay, I guess I can do it over here. There we go. Okay, so if it was easy not to pay taxes, nobody would. So do you think they make this difficult for you? Yes, they do. If you're already in the nonprofit world or thinking about it, yes, it's going to be difficult. That's why. If it was easy not to pay taxes, nobody would pay taxes. So they make it pretty difficult. All right. Common compliance issues. Here we go. You ready? We're going to go in this. We're going to go pretty fast. I cannot stop to answer questions. Please write down your questions. We'll answer them all at the end, okay? Right on the front of your packet, there's a place to note your questions, okay? Or you can just draw right on the slides, okay? All right, charitable purpose and programs. You should already have this if you're already a nonprofit. Page 2 in your packet, charitable purpose. This is right straight off the IRS website. This is things that are your charitable purposes. You cannot do anything else but these things, okay? It's in your packet, it's right here. So, things like relief for the poor, distressed, or underprivileged, religious, educational, scientific, literary, eliminating prejudice, okay? There's very specific things. There's a list. Note on there, raising awareness. Not a charitable purpose. You have to be doing education, okay? So if you say, oh, we're going to start this nonprofit, we're going to raise awareness for unicorns dying, okay? I have to make up something because I don't want to show prejudice to anybody's industry. So I talk about unicorns a lot. And we gotta raise awareness for unicorns. No, you need to educate the public on what's happening to the unicorns. Big difference. If you say you're going to raise awareness, instantly canceled. Okay? Education. Okay? Scientific, things like that. Okay. Next one. Board of 3, no owners. This seems so simple. You have to have a board if you're a nonprofit. You don't know how many people come to me. They're one person. They have one idea. They want to start their own nonprofit. They make all the decisions. They run it. No. State law in Arkansas is 3. If you, oh, good gravy. That's interesting. So we have the train going by for my live streamers, if you're wondering what the sound is. Okay, board of 3. You have to have 3 people on your board. You need to have a board of decision makers. You can't just, this is my nonprofit, I started it, I make all the decisions. Well, you better have 2 people that are going to do everything you say, because legally you have to have at least 3 on your board. Once you start growing, I promise you, have that guy on your board that you hate. That guy that's like, we can't afford this. How are you going to pay for this? Money doesn't grow on trees. Do not fire that guy from your board. You need that guy that's going to tell you you can't afford it because, frankly, you can't afford it. How are you going to raise the funds to do this next step? Okay? So make sure you have a board of 3, and as you start growing and making money and getting grants and getting funding, that you have that guy on your board that everybody's like, I wish John would miss this meeting. Like, no, you want John at your meeting. Okay? You want that guy on your board because he's going to keep you from frivolously spending money. I had a very, very, very large, I don't think I recognize anybody here from this, but this was about 15 or 20 years ago, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, that they would just frivolously like decide, oh, we're just going to have a staff lunch for like, team building. With what money? They would just take it out of the checking account like it was a slush fund. Every dollar is accounted for. And they lost like half their funding. They were getting federal grants, and they lost like half their money because they were audited. Like they get audited every year, and they're like, who's paying for these staff lunches, right? Okay, number 3, a document binder with your bylaws and policies. That is also on page 2. That is the bottom of page 2. Read that. You should have all those things either in a paper binder or in an online folder. Yes, well, it's like, what's in there? Like lease contracts, website recovery information, and, passwords, and the location of all the passwords. Like, if you do not, it's like, well, I don't want everybody having that. Well, then, keep it locked up and only let the board have it, right? Make sure you have a succession, like 2 or 3 people all have access to this information. I have so many nonprofits. No, you don't have that. So make sure you have a binder, document binder. Proper meetings and minutes. That is actually page 9, I think. The pages are numbered at the bottom. I have an annual meeting minutes. There is certain things on here. I mean, it doesn't have to be an annual meeting, but if you don't have meetings because you're really small, you should at least have 1 meeting a year and decide what you're doing. But, who's in attendance, who called the meeting to order, right? So this is what you need in all your meeting minutes, not just like, oh, yeah, well, we just texted each other. And like, okay, that's our meeting minutes. I'm like, no, you need to take screenshots of all that, print it out, save it in a document, and do the whole Robert's Rules of Order, like I made the motion, you seconded the motion, okay? Use a form to take your meeting minutes. And then you can staple all your printed out text messages to that if you want to do that. But somebody needs to keep an actual documentation of all your meetings. I see a lot of people here that are maybe my age. I don't want to make anybody older. And like, have all y'all been here a long time? Y'all remember the Fayetteville co-op? The Ozark Natural Foods. Okay. Oh, we have a lot of people that remember that. They all went on strike, and the board was trying to fire the president, and the president was trying to fire the board, and they couldn't find the original documents that said who could do what. And it was in court for like forever because they kept looking for the original meeting minutes, the original organizational documents that set up who was in charge. And that's why it had to go to court, because they couldn't figure it out, right? Keep all that stuff. It's important. It's important. You don't know that 30 years later something stupid's going to happen, right? This may outlive you. Hopefully it will outlive you, right? All right, last one on this slide. There's 15, and I got to go faster. Proper financial records and earnings kept inside of organizations. I don't have a worksheet for that one, but you need to keep records. Does that include putting things in QuickBooks? Sometimes, if you don't know how to use QuickBooks, no, it doesn't. It includes getting somebody that knows what they're doing, okay? Just entering random stuff into QuickBooks makes your accountant very mad. We will get to more of that later on as we get to the 990 and get into the other compliance, talk about what records you need to keep and how. Earnings kept inside of the organization. It is part of IRS code that no person can inure to the benefit, okay? There is no profit sharing. There is no earnings. There's no profit. There's no, oh, I earned this is my money. No, that is salary if the board votes to give you a salary, okay? You do not just take money out of the organizational checking account to buy dog food because you forgot your debit card. Do not do that. You can get in tremendous amount of trouble, especially if people get mad at you. You get one person mad at you, they're gonna find all these stupid mistakes you made. Okay, next slide. Maybe, there we go. Oh, hold on. Boop. Wait. Okay, we'll just put them all up. All right, proper donation receipts. I've got an example for you. That's page 3. Page 3. I will not go down this. You guys can read, I hope. Right down here on this side is everything that should be on an example of a receipt on this side. Gifts in kind. Yes, people will leave a couch on your doorstep sometime, or clothes, or stuff you don't want. All right, you can do what you want with that. But if people give you stuff and you don't want it, you have the option of turning it down. Like, you don't have to take everything everybody drops off on your doorstep. You can be like, no. Dumpster, that way, okay. You do not have to take everything that people give you. But if you do give somebody a receipt, do not put an amount for any gifts in kind. If they're giving you stuff, now if they're giving you new stuff, like they just went to the grocery store and bought a whole bunch of food for your food pantry, that's great. Then you have a receipt to go with that, you have an exact amount. But if they're giving you used stuff, furniture, stuff like that, make sure you give them a receipt. Do not put an amount on it. You need to value it for your records. But what you value it at and what they value it at, that's your own opinion. And you all get audited separately, and those figures are never compared. So like, if it's worth $1 to you, it's worth $1. You know, if they put down $100 on their taxes, that's up to them. I mean, that's between them and the government, not you. So you need to value everything. So make sure all your receipts, and these big arrows here, required wording. This changed about 3 years ago, okay? It's no goods or services were received in exchange for this donation. Now, if goods or services were received, there is a blog, grassrootstaxes.com, that explains how to figure that out and what to put there. But make sure, if it doesn't say no goods or services were received in exchange, or only religious benefits, I don't know. Do I have any churches here? Anybody a church? No churches. Okay, I might have some churches in live stream. And if you're a church, you can say only intangible religious benefits, okay, or something like that. All right. 0 lobbying or excellent records. You can have a minimal amount of lobbying. It is not a percentage. It is not a percentage of time. It's not a percentage of money. It is a minimal amount of stuff. If you spend all your time doing doing lobbying, and you don't really raise any money or do much else, even though there's no money going through, and you have, even though most of your money comes from other stuff, and most of your spending comes from other stuff, but most of your time goes to lobbying. Okay. Let's talk about lobbying real quick. Grassroots lobbying is explaining there's an issue to you. You need to vote this way because this is what's going to happen if you vote the other way. okay? Educating the public, that is grassroots. Telling people how to vote. You cannot, at any point in time, promote a candidate for an office. Any office, mayor, president, I don't care, dog catcher. You cannot promote a candidate. You can educate people on issues, okay? You cannot tell somebody, do some nonprofits around here that say they're 501c3s or churches promote candidates? Yes, I see it all the time. Has the government done anything about it? No. But that doesn't mean that's not the law. Don't do it, don't get busted, don't do it. Okay, but you can educate. And then there's direct lobby, which is writing letters, making phone calls, sending emails to your elected officials. Say, this is dumb, you need to change the law. You need to vote on this bill, you need to vote on this bill. Can you do that? Yes, you can. It has to be a minimal amount to be a 501c3. Can you still be a nonprofit and do that stuff? Yes, but you're not a 501c3 anymore. Now you're a political organization. Is it different? Yes, but you cannot take tax-deductible donations, okay? So you cannot receive tax. If you want to be in politics, that's great, be in politics. But you are not, you cannot give out those tax receipts and say, oh, this can be. Oh, speaking of tax receipts, I forgot the one most important thing, other than the required wording. Okay, here we go. Up here. We are a 501c3. Your donations may be tax deductible. Do not, or any time, ever tell anybody that their donation is tax deductible. Do you do their taxes? Are you their tax preparer? How do you know they're tax deductible? How do you know they haven't already exceeded their limits? How do you know they don't itemize? How do you know they live in a different state that doesn't do that in their state? You don't. It may be tax deductible. Don't ever tell anybody their donations are tax deductible. I see that on so many people say, oh, we're a 501c3, it's tax deductible. No, rarely it is. I do a lot of people's taxes. They bring me all their charitable giving, and I'm like, no, you didn't. It's not going to change anything. If they live in Arkansas, often, yes, you can deduct on your Arkansas state taxes. But how much is it really saving you? Like $1 or $2? Not much, people, not much. Okay, keep going. Insurance, liability, workers' compensation. If you are touching people or people's property, please have insurance, okay? So if you are caring for victims of crime, if you are doing some kind of psychological work or helping people, if you are touching people or you're touching people's property, okay? You're going in and fixing stuff, touching, what, I don't know. Have insurance. Have liability insurance. You could hurt somebody, you could break their stuff, and they're gonna sue you because it's just the US, right? The other thing is workers' comp. If you have employees, of which you should, I mean, some people do contract labor, we'll get there. If you have more than 3, including yourself, like anybody who's getting paid, you should have workers' comp. And why? Well, here's a story. If you have workers' comp and somebody gets hurt really badly, loses their life on your watch, they pay out. They cancel your insurance, you move on. If you don't have workers' comp, whoever was responsible for getting it is charged with a Class D felony, first of all. And yeah, which you can be charged with a Class D felony for not having workers' comp even if you don't have a claim. And then it is your organization's responsibility, or you personally, if you're the one who caused it and the organization doesn't have any money, to pay those people's medical bills for the rest of their life. So yeah, if you have employees, make sure you have workers' comp. I do, somewhere in this packet, there's like a long list of like people, my insurance guy's in there, I love him. If you don't have an insurance guy, number 1 rule with insurance, if you're buying business insurance, it is business insurance, it's not personal. It's not car insurance, it's not, you know, like homeowners insurance or health insurance, okay. Business insurance is different. It's a luxury. They don't have to sell it to you, okay? Do not go to a place with a brand name on the door. We do not go to State Farm for business insurance. Yes, they sell it. Is it what you need? Who knows? They have a one-size-fits-all policy, okay? We do not go to Farmers Insurance or State Farm or Geico or, okay, you go to an independent insurance agent. There's lots of them around here. They put out a bid and they find what you need for your size of your organization and they insure what you need, okay? Don't buy business insurance where you buy your car insurance. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's a completely different thing. Okay, city business license. Could be real quick on that. You gotta, I highly recommend everybody gets one in their city, even if you're working at home. Get a city business license. It puts you out there. It puts you in compliance. You're over-complying. You look like you're trying to be a business, which is what we want, right? Occupancy, fire marshal, building code, utilities, they come around and inspect before you can move in. If you are deciding to rent a place, make sure you have that inspection before you sign your lease. Nobody tells you that. Do not lease a place and move in and then find out you're not gonna, once you're tied into that lease, find out that it doesn't pass inspection and you're responsible because it's a triple net lease and now you're responsible for putting in all the hoods and fans. And I had somebody start a restaurant that way. They went bankrupt. They couldn't even open their restaurant. They lost all the money on the lease. They took them, they sued them, they made them pay the rent every month. It was a triple net lease. They were responsible for repairs and the hood wouldn't pass fire inspection. They went to bankruptcy because they didn't get it inspected first. Make sure, get anything, if you decide to rent a piece of property, get it inspected by the city inspectors. They go around. I live in Springdale. My son-in-law is one of the inspectors. Yeah. Hi, Mason. But anyway, so make sure, get your property inspected first if you're moving into an office. Okay, be careful signing leases. Okay, property tax assessment. Page 4 in your packet, I think. It's on one of the lines on the resources, where it says more resources, is the Washington County property tax exemption. If you go to that or kind of click through to it and you find that web page, that's what it is. If you are in a different county, they all have it. So when you have a business, you are required to pay property tax on your assets that make you money every year. So like I have a business, I have an office, I pay tax on my desks and my printers and my copier and my tables and chairs and my filing cabinets and 3 computers and I pay like, I don't know, $16 or something a year to the county in property tax on my business assets because I don't have much. You might have more, I don't know. It's not vehicles, they're taxed when you register them, it's not real estate. All right, but it does count for the real estate tax too. So if you're in a triple net lease and you have to pay property tax, you should not be paying property tax. If you are using that 100% for nonprofit purposes, that's the exemption form is here. You do not pay that property tax. Is that automatic? No, nothing's automatic and everything's difficult, right? Okay, so you have to sign that form and say, this is all the assets we have. This is what we're paying property tax on. And then you list, okay, you make a list of, oh, this is how we're using it. This is how we're using our desks and chairs and tables and computers, right? And all that stuff. You make a list of all that. You send it into the county, they give you an exemption. You no longer have to pay personal property tax on your business assets, right? We don't want to do that. We don't want to pay that. We want to save our money, okay? Let's go. One more slide? I think got a few more. I'm just going to do this because I just want to get through these. Okay, so if you are handling food, you have to have a health department permit, okay? I don't care if you're doing potlucks, fundraisers. If you are handling food and serving it to the public, even if it's for free, you have to have a health department permit and pass inspection. You have to have somebody local, like working there or supervising that has a ServSafe certification that can make sure that you are safely handling food. Don't poison people. We're there to help people, not poison them, okay? Alcohol, okay? So if you are gonna do, we're having an art exhibit. We all love art, right? We have a lot of art people here. We're having an art exhibit. We're gonna come in, adults only, right? We're gonna have a little soiree. Oh, and we don't have an alcohol, but we're gonna give it away. We're not selling alcohol. We're gonna give it away, right? Okay. For a donation, you can have a glass of wine, right? Great idea. Great. Everybody loves wine, right? Great way to raise money. Make sure that you contact the Department of Finance and Administration, tell them what you're doing, get a list of the rules. You are serving alcohol to people that are going to drive away. Everybody that's serving alcohol has to know how to recognize somebody that's intoxicated when they've had too much. What are the signs? Do you know the signs of intoxication? If you've never tended bar, you probably don't. You need to have people there serving alcohol that know who not to serve and how to check an ID. Okay? There's rules. They'll send it to you. The Department of Finance and Administration is in charge of that. The ABC is in there. I think on page 4, I think I have their email address too. I think Arkansas Alcoholic Beverage Control, ABC admin, their email address is there. Email the ABC and make sure that you're handling. It's a great way, right? Serving box wine for free. They give you a donation. You don't need an alcohol permit. But if somebody drives away and kills somebody, oh, we're back to that whole workers' comp and liability, bankrupt. We're back to there, okay? You served them, you can go to jail, okay? We very careful with alcohol, okay? Great way to raise money, but be careful. Sales tax compliance. Now, I've been teaching people in nonprofits in Arkansas for 25 years. I don't know, a long time. And they're like, you're not sales tax exempt. You have to pay sales tax on your purchases. You walk in to Walmart and they're like, are you tax exempt? And I'm like, of course I'm tax exempt. I'm a nonprofit. I don't have to pay sales. Yes, you do have to pay sales tax, okay? Guess what? They changed the laws. They're ruining my life. You are sales tax exempt now. If you are buying, and this is since they passed this law, they passed this in July. It became effective October 1st. So you're not too far behind, okay? It's only been 2 months. Let's see, what page are we on? Actually, I got a slide for that. So you probably are taxed. You probably don't have to pay sales tax on what you're buying for your nonprofit anymore. I have a new slide after this slide, so hang on, we're gonna get to that. That's why I said update. Maybe you can be. Payroll tax compliance. All right, I got like 1 minute here. So if you have people working for you, okay, my 20-question test, that's a rephrase of the page 10, contractor or employee. Looks like this, it's in there, also on my website, okay? If you think they're an employee, read through the 20-question test. If you're telling them when to show up to work, how to answer the phone, what to wear, when to show up, when to leave. No, you can't call out. If you're telling them how to do their job, if you're explaining their job to them, guess what? You're not, they're not contractors. You can't just write them a check. They're employees. You need to go with payroll tax compliance, okay? I strongly advise, I mean, I'm not here to promote anybody and I don't get paid for this and I hate promoting people, but I really do love Gusto. I love Square Payroll. If you're selling stuff and you already have Square, if you have like a location or something, Toast is great. If you have like, I guess you guys wouldn't have that, it's mostly like a restaurant thing, but Gusto Payroll is cheap, easy, and they do everything for you. It's the best one I've found so far. I love all my clients that use Gusto. It just works. They just magically take the money out every payday for the taxes and everything. They file all your forms, they do all your stuff. Please do not just call everybody a contractor and write them a check. If the person you are writing the checks to suddenly goes back and they file their taxes the next year and it's like, I owe $14,000 in taxes. Why do I owe $14,000 in taxes? And they're like, well, that's just because you're an independent contractor. And they come back to you and they're like, according to this test, I'm an employee. Guess who's responsible for the back payroll taxes if they win with the IRS? Guess who it is? That would be you, yes. Yeah, so don't just be like, I don't want to do payroll. No, you are not exempt from payroll. You are very much payroll taxes. Okay, last one, non-contributory unemployment option. This is one of those things where you don't have to pay, and I tell everybody, you don't have free stuff, right? I highly advise not to do this. Why? Again, a very large nonprofit I worked for about 15 years ago that wasn't very good at budgeting and spending money correctly, and they kind of went under and lost all their funding. The same one, they decided to use the non-contributory unemployment, which means when you're doing payroll, and you sign up for a payroll account, and you sign up with unemployment, which is required, you're required to pay in an unemployment, right? You can say, well, I'm a nonprofit, and like, I didn't think I want to pay into unemployment. I'm going to opt out of that, right? I'm going to save money, right? Honestly, right now, it's about $320 a year. The highest I've ever seen it is like $440 a year per employee for the whole year. And once you have paid in, you don't pay in anymore, okay? And that's, right? You don't want to pay that. I'm going to save that money. I'm not going to pay it. Great. That's fantastic. You don't have to pay it. But if that person claims unemployment, if they lose their job, and they claim unemployment. Guess who pays every dollar of their unemployment until they get another job? You've got the answers. This guy in the back here, he's always like, yeah, that's right. You do. Is it more than $400 or $300? It's going to be a lot. That's like a week, right? And they could be on unemployment for like 12 weeks now, and sometimes longer. And it depends on how much they were paid. I mean, if they had a really good salary. So why would somebody lose their job, not for cause, at a nonprofit? Why do you think that'd be? Oh, because you lost your grant. You can't afford to pay them anymore. So now you've lost your grant. You had to let them go. Now they claim unemployment. Where's that money coming from? I know a big nonprofit that had to have a big gala event, and they raised $20,000, and it paid one person's unemployment. The whole big gala they had that was for helping unicorns or whatever they were doing, they didn't help any unicorns. They paid their unemployment bill to the state. Ouch. Yeah, they didn't advertise that part on their website or anything. Okay, let's get back to sales tax. Let's talk about something happy like sales tax. Okay, sales tax isn't happy. You do not want to mess with the state. You do not want to mess with the Department of Finance and Administration or any other divisions like the alcohol division, payroll taxes, sales tax. Do not mess with the state. If the state's bugging you, call me, okay? Do not mess with the state. Arkansas Act 1007, look it up yourself if you want. Effective October 1st. They have a new thing on ATAP here. Apply for recertification. When you go to sales and use tax, if it's on your phone, they'll be stacked up like this. You have to scroll down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like way down. Okay. If you don't want to pay sales tax on your stuff, it has to be used for nonprofit stuff. What is not, like office supplies, right? Library is a nonprofit, right? Right? Library is several nonprofits stacked up on top of each other. But did you print this stuff for my class? Yeah. Are they paying for it? No, this is not for profit. So guess what? That printing, those papers, all those office supplies, you should not be paying sales tax on them anymore. So make sure whoever's in charge of the library, do this. Now, I don't know. Now, you probably want to form a smaller nonprofit library because the library has millions in budget. It's for only small nonprofits under $200,000. If you are a smaller nonprofit that supports a bigger nonprofit, could you do that? Of course you could. Is it a loophole? Yeah. You probably want to form another nonprofit that doesn't pay sales tax when, right? Right? Why not? Nestum, right? Under $200,000 annual budget. You must provide a local service. So if you are raising money for children in Haiti, or raising money for children in Africa, or unicorns in the Great West, or wherever unicorns live, okay, that doesn't count. You have to be providing an Arkansas service. You have to be helping your neighbors here in Arkansas with whatever it is you're buying. There's a list of exceptions. Where's the list of exceptions? I think it's page 4. You have to pay sales tax on motor vehicles, boats, airplanes, right? Alcohol. Yeah, you don't get out of it. You're giving that alcohol away for free? Yeah, you still have to pay the sales tax on it. Computers, household appliances, mobile telephones, all-terrain vehicles. I guess if you're doing search and rescue or something, but tobacco and televisions. Household appliances. So like anything that looks like, yeah, sure. Okay, so yeah, it's for work. Yeah, okay. So they exempted a bunch of things. Motor vehicles, of course. Materials used to construct a residential or commercial structure, they have their own special sales tax exemption that could overlap with this one. So yeah, Habitat for Humanity, sorry. I hope you're out there. I got a few people from Habitat that I think are streaming. Anyway, no tax on exempt purpose. So sign up. Okay, I think this is our first break. You have some homework. We got about 5 minutes to do some homework, or use the facilities down the hall, get a drink. It is page, oh, you got work to do though. Hold on, you gotta grab your pen. And then on page 6, okay, starts our compliance checklist with some notes. It's on as the kids say, it's on page 6, 7, right? So 6 and 7, right, is your checklist. So this is what I want you to do during the break. At the bottom here, I want you to list the 3 most important things of these 15 things that are wrong with your organization. You guys on streaming too, are you listening? List the 3 most important things. I want you to schedule a board meeting or text one of your board members and say, hey, we really need to work on these 3 things. Do that now. If you get done that, there's a bonus round at the bottom, and that is go to ATAP, right here. This one. Go to ATAP and apply for the sales tax exemption if you haven't already. And I know you haven't because it's brand new. So if you have the authority to do that, do it now. Start it. It takes like 5 minutes to submit everything. You will get it in the mail. You will get a response in the mail. You will get a sales tax exemption certificate that you can take to Walmart, Target, Harps, and be like, hey, how do I get to be tax exempt? Do not abuse that. Do not use it for dog food for your doggy, unless you're with the Humane Society. They're out there too, I think. We do not abuse it. It's only for things. Yes, now is question time. Let me get a quick drink, and I will answer all your questions. And at 10:15, we'll start again. Maybe.
So my question is, what's the definition of a local community service? If we run a literary magazine that is mailed to many people in the world, we do have local readings.
That's a great question. I don't know. I would call the Department of Finance and Administration and ask them exactly how that works, or if you qualify.
Okay.
I would get a judgment on that first before you try. But anything you are providing here in Arkansas would count. But I don't know if you'd have to scale that out, or
Right.
and how would you do that? Like, I don't.
Limit
I
it
don't.
to, like,
This is brand new, so they haven't figured all that out yet.
Okay.
Questions?
On the keeping a folder of all these documents, IRS application, blah, 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 can all of that be kept electronically?
Yes. This
So you
this
can
is
have
the 21st
PDFs
century.
of all- Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
but keep it all together. Make a binder in like a folder, like have all that stuff together. So it's like, hey, where's all my original documents? Where's all the meeting minutes? Boom, it's on this computer. It's on the cloud. This person has access to it. This person. Make sure that the important people on the board all have access to that stuff.
Have you seen systems to kind of handle
I
that,
can't-
that work well?
There might be,
or-
but I don't know. I mean, I would just
Okay.
put it in a folder and put it on your cloud drive so that all your board has access to.
Dropbox is good for that.
Dropbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is with nonprofits, as long as you're not putting anybody's personal information, it's all public information anyway. So as long as you don't put people's social security numbers or addresses of like the board and stuff like that, as long as it's all redacted, it's a lot different than most of my tax work, but it's like, no, it's all, everything you do is public. Everybody can look everything up. We're gonna get to that. Yes, ma'am.
When you talk about the insurance, it's important to have liability insurance.
Depends on what you're doing.
So, our Latinos in DC is a non-profit organization. We promote cycling through our programming, teaching women how to ride a bike and also how to prioritize their wellness. But insurance for the board, do we require to have insurance for the board members?
Not necessarily. Board insurance is a little bit different. Like if somebody, they're all there voluntarily. They all want to help people. I don't think any of the board's actually going to sue you. If you have somebody on your board that's going to sue you, you probably need a new board. You know?
So
If I could just mention, D&O
Yes, ma'am.
insurance is pretty typical for most organizations to have, and then when I'm asked to join a board, the first question I ask is, do you have D&O insurance? Because the concern is that the board members boards or officers are gonna get sued by someone in the conduct of providing services.
Right.
And so I think that, it's something that you want to seriously think about is to have D&O insurance. Because the National Volunteer Act prevents a board member from actually being culpable, but it does not prevent someone from actually having a frivolous lawsuit.
Oh, yeah, you still have to defend yourself, yeah.
representation. So even though you can never really, a volunteer board is never really going to be, hit with a monetary fine for it, someone's gonna have to pay for an attorney to represent them to make that point in
Right.
court. So and
So,
that's the place that.
by
makes
the
it
way,
like
this is Kim, right?
Yes.
Kim, I got the name right. I'm really surprised.
Yeah,
I got
there's
the,
a lot of
this is Kim. She'll be teaching the next class. This is a 3-part series. She's gonna handle that.
That's right, I just couldn't help it.
No, that's
on
great,
that one
because I honestly,
because
that's a way better
one of
answer
the
than I
first
could've
things
given.
like,
We
do
do
you have
have-
insurance and liability
We
insurance?
do have liability board members insurance, but now me as a co-founder and CEO, what do I do to protect myself? Somebody says that, is to have a LLC.
You're a nonprofit, and LLC will not help you.
No, personal, for me personal.
And I really
It's
wouldn't
not
think
gonna
that was
change
necessary.
anything.
If you have D&O insurance, you're covered.
That's what insurance is for.
The only other thing you need is you
Insurance.
need to have a section in your bylaws that says that the organization is indemnifying every board member. So that,
Identify.
yes, you need to have a
Right.
paragraph in your bylaws that say the board members and officers are indemnified by
Right.
the organization.
And mind you, I'm not an insurance broker. I do not have an insurance license.
What does that mean?
It means
Protecting?
it means that if you get sued, the organization's gonna take the responsibility
Take
for
care
it.
of it.
Oh,
It's called an indemnification clause. If you just look up I can't even say it, indemnification clause,
Right,
a
make sure, that-
nonprofit, you can probably find language online.
right, that, and
The D&O.
I'm also not a lawyer, and I'm not an insurance salesman. I can't really give advice on this stuff, so I strongly advise, talk to somebody who sells insurance.
yeah, we already.
That has a
bought that
license.
insurance, just
Yeah.
wanted to know.
The D&O insurance is usually a rider on your liability, and it's very low cost.
Yeah, most of it is very cheap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, but that's.
Because, I
what-
mean, who's gonna sue a nonprofit? Like,
It's like,
they don't have any money, right?
They will.
For the board, but how
Right.
about for the CEO?
Right, but that's something, that would be a clause you'd have to have in your bylaws.
are you on the board?
No.
You should be. As an
Even
ex officio.
as an ex officio member, if you
Yeah.
really want to be. A lot of times you use the language, board members, directors and officers, and then if you're an officer of the organization, like, and you're designated, and the ED or the CEO or whatever is designated as an officer, then you're covered by that.
Everybody's gotta come to Kim's class. When's your date? January?
16th?
Is that right?
Karen, when is
I think that's right.
Middle of January.
and Kelly, when is
January 16th?
January 16th. Everybody, y'all need to put that on your calendar now and get her for her class. She's gonna cover way more stuff, more into the legal and compliance, stuff like that. I just talk about money. She's gonna talk about all the hard stuff. So,
What are you talking about?
money.
No, I know, but
Oh.
you were talking about somebody else giving presentations?
Yes, there's gonna be 2 more of these presentations on 2 different things. One's gonna be on more compliance,
Like financial management.
management, like more management stuff, like day to day. I don't do that. I just handle the money. And then the next one is gonna be on like budgeting, fundraising, how to, and that's Melanie Palmer, and she's amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, you definitely want to attend my other 2 classes. They will also be streamed. My streaming audience still with me? I think I lost my streaming audience. All right. It's the same place. You sign up on the MAA, Mid-America Arts Alliance.
Yeah.
You sign
We'll
up
send an
there if
email.
you want to get a seat in the packet. It's going to be in this room, right?
Yeah.
I don't think anything's going to change. 2 more. So make sure you come to all 3 classes. I'm just talking about money. All right, who signed up for the sales tax exemption? Oh, come on. Y'all need to do that today. That's the one most important thing we got to do. All right, let's talk about Arkansas. Got a couple things to do with the state of Arkansas. All right, I want to say hi to my streaming audience again. Please come back if you're back. Hi, streaming audience. Okay, if you do not have the packet that I keep referring to, it is on the Grassroots Taxes website, grassrootstaxes.com. Right there under the first picture is the slides for today's picture. If you want to download them if you're here, but if you're in streaming, make sure you do that. Let's get to Arkansas state issues. Annual report to the Secretary of State. August 1st. They've changed the date a few times, but it still says August 1st. They changed it to June something, and they changed it back, I don't know. Just to file it by August 1st. It lists your officers, contact information, no financial data. So you're like, oh, I gotta fill out this form, it's gonna be so hard. No, it's just listing the people on the board, not even their addresses. And if they're already on the board, you just check, yes, 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 yes. Takes 5 minutes. If it takes longer than 5 minutes, you're stressing on it too much. 5 minutes. Here we go. Here's how it looks. That's how you find it. You go to the Secretary of State website. It's also the website addresses and everything in the packet. But you search. You go to their search page. We got our new search page with Cole Jester up here. Do search page. Just enter your name. Just enter part of your name, right? You have all these slides. You don't need to be taking pictures. They're in there. Take the packet home. Download them. When you get that, you find your name. You click on it. Okay? Once you click on it, you will see this. Oh, this is me. Look at that. Tax Relief Resources and Education. That's my nonprofit. Notice, here's my address and me. It's going to give you all this information. There's your filing number. Because you're going to push, hit search. At the bottom of the search page, a little bit further down past this, you'll see, oh, file an annual report. The next question is going to be, what's your filing number? How many people call Diane and be like, how do I find out my filing number? Look there! You just saw it and you clicked and you didn't copy. Copy it. Copy, next screen, paste. It's a little box, it'll fill it out. And then you just check if it's the same board as last year, it's just like, yeah, click, done. Literally takes me 2 minutes to do mine because I don't have any new board members. That's all it is. Everybody makes a big deal out of it. Is it free? Yes. Does it need to get done anyway? Yes. What happens if you don't file it? You get revoked. You go to open a bank account or anything like that, the bank's going to be like, why are you revoked? You go to get a grant. Your grant renewed. You're revoked. Like, why are you revoked to the Secretary of State? I don't know, because I didn't spend 3 seconds filling out this form. You have to do it anyway. That's the easy one. Next one's the hard one. Everybody forgets about this. I have very few people that follow through with it without me saying. But I did have somebody put on an event. They put on a, I don't know, music festival, camping thing, 20 years ago. They went down and they had their thing. Guess who showed up on Saturday on a weekend festival? Somebody from the Secretary of State saying, are you raising funds? Are you fundraising for your organization? You're not registered as fundraising. Why are you raising funds? They shut down their festival. Now, was this politically motivated or had some hate in their heart? Of course it was, but was it legal? Of course. So, if you're still exempt from filing the form, which you very well may be, you still file it every year. You have to file and say, oh, I'm filing this form to tell you that I don't have to file this form. Okay, you still have to do it every year. If you are fundraising at all, so what's fundraising? Soliciting funds. Do you have a donate button on your Facebook page? Do you have a donate button on your PayPal or your YouTube channel, right? Do you have a donate button? You are soliciting funds from people in the state of Arkansas. You need to register as a nonprofit that is soliciting funds. Why are you soliciting funds? Why are you asking people for money? So what makes you different from the guy with the cardboard sign on the street? Nothing. Until you file the form and say, hey, I'm a nonprofit. This is what I'm using. Here comes the train again. This is what I'm using the money for. This is what my nonprofit does. This is where your funds are going to go. Here's the website. You can look us up on the federal website. We are really a nonprofit. You can look up my past tax returns to see how I'm spending this money that you're going to give me. You have to register as a solicitor, as a person soliciting money. If you have a professional fundraiser, which you very well may have, churches do that all the time. They hire professional fundraising companies to build buildings, and they have building campaigns, professional fundraisers. Okay, they do all that stuff for you, but if you're doing fundraising yourself, even as little as putting on a party, right? The gala dance thing. If you are asking people for money, you need to register. So how do we do that? If you have no paid workers, 0 payroll, 0 contractors, all volunteer board, you're exempt. And less than $50,000 in total donations. So you have to have an all-volunteer board, no employees, and bring in under $50,000 a year. Basically, you have to be filing the end postcard and be like pretty much a nobody. Then you can file the form that says you're exempt from filing the form. We love government, right? We love government. I'm going to go through that one. All right. There's examples, I think. Or are they on here? Not on the slides. They must be in the packet. I may not have printed them all out. We'll see. I don't believe I printed them all out. Maybe I did.
You're talking about the form on page 5?
Maybe. No. Oh, what do you know? I did put the breakout of the form for the annual Secretary of State one. I did put that in here so you can look at it and see what they're going to ask you and see how easy it is. Okay? That's in here. Hold on. I got to find the one for, I don't think I printed them all out because they're pretty complicated. I don't think I did. What's on page 5? Let me just make sure. I can't get the pages apart. Oh. I have the exemptions for it. Now, $50,000 a year. Now, if in addition to having less than $50,000 a year, no paid board, you could also be a religious organization, an educational institution, political candidate, because we're talking about all kinds of nonprofits here, not just 501c3, government organizations, or you're a solicitor for whatever. But anyway, here's your exceptions. Most of it's going to be you make under $50,000 a year, and you have an all-volunteer board. So basically, if you're just a tiny little organization trying to help the world out, you don't have to file the whole report. You just have to file the little one. Now, here's 2. CR01, Charitable Organization Registration Form, and the CR03, Annual Financial Reporting Form. So if you make over $50,000 a year, or you have paid employees, or both, and you are soliciting money from the public. Now, what is soliciting money? If you are offering services for pay, so you like run a health clinic, or charge people to learn bike lessons, or I don't know what everybody's doing. But if you are charging for your services, that's not soliciting money, that's just reduced cost, right? Providing something at a reduced cost, like low-income housing, those kind of things. If you are soliciting money, like donate, give me money, I will give you a donation receipt. If you are soliciting money, you need to fill out this form every year if you make over $50,000 or have any paid employees. There is 2 forms. I do not have examples of them because I can't cover that all in here. They are not complicated. You should get some help. It asks, the CR01 asks for a whole lot of information about your organization. What do you do? Who do you help? What's your website? Send your last 990. They want to see it all. The annual financial reporting form, CR03, you also have to report that every year, and that is a complete, basically a copy of what's on your taxes. Like the tax form you send into the feds, they want to see it. They want to see what form you file, and they want to see how you're spending your money, because that's public information. So they want to make sure you're filing. They want to make sure you're legit. You cannot solicit money from the people in the state of Arkansas and be considered anything more than a guy with a cardboard sign or girl with a cardboard sign. You cannot be considered legitimate unless you're on their website. At any time that anybody is like, oh, how do I know? Like, who is this people? They can look them up on the Secretary of State or the Attorney General. It got dumped on the Secretary of State. The Attorney General dumped it a few years ago, and it kind of went back to them. But it's a mess. But they have a website that it's like, hey, this person's soliciting money from me. Are they legit? If you're not on there, don't solicit money. Or you file the exemption if you qualify. Every year, both are due the day you start soliciting money. So if you are soliciting money and you haven't done it already, today would be the day to do that. The minute you know, you start soliciting money, and then every year by June 30th, and guess how you file it? You have to print out the forms, scan an email, or do them, if you can edit PDFs or whatever. They don't have an online way of doing this because it's Arkansas, and it's really embarrassing. it's embarrassing how poorly this is run, but it's still the law, and they can still enforce it. So you want to over comply, okay? I think this slide here just covers what I said before, which is if you're using a professional fundraiser, get professional help. If you hire a company to help you with fundraising, or to help you get grants or help with a fundraising campaign, get professional help. Not a DIY project, do not do it. I saw the stuff. If you have over $500,000 in gross receipts, you probably wouldn't be here if you're that, but maybe, I don't know. Maybe my streaming audience has I have some bigger nonprofits. Hi, streaming, I hope you're still here. Over 500,000, you are required to have an audit every year by a CPA. How much does that cost? 7,000, 8,000, 10,000? They are not cheap. Oh, you're saying more now?
Yeah.
Are they more now?
Yeah.
Okay, nonprofit audits by a CPA are very expensive. They are very granular. They are a pain. You are required to have an audit. If you're making that, you have to put that in your budget. And when people give you the grants for the big money, you need to budget the audit fund, the audit cost in the budget for your grants. You will be audited. Okay? Guess what? We have a breakout. So, I'm sure you all filled out your 2 pages of things and said that. Hey, I'll be right with you. And then, and everybody, no, you all did not sign up for that sales tax exemption. You need to go back to that one. But anyway, we have some homework for this breakout. That's what I want you to do for the next 5 or 10 minutes. Annual board report. I want you to go to the website. It's on here. Or just go to the Secretary of State and start clicking through till you find it. I want you to look yourself up. Y'all have your phone with you. Look yourself up. Does it say you're revoked? Does it say in good standing? It's supposed to say good standing. It says you're revoked. Guess what you need to do? You need to fill out the report. Put that on your list of stuff you need to do. I want you to look yourself up in the Secretary of State. If you are soliciting funds, I want you to look up. Here's all the instructions. I want you to look up yourself and see if you're on that solicitation report as a registered solicitor if you're soliciting funds. If you are not, guess what's on those board meeting notes? That's what you're doing at your next meeting. Y'all need to just have it at a nice restaurant because y'all going to be arguing about something. Some place that serves alcohol, right? And then once you do those things, while you got your computer or your phone out, there's a bonus round at the bottom if you get done with that or you know it's all good. I want you to go to apps.irs.gov, right? I want you to go to TEOS. TEOS, or EOS? They're calling it EO. They're calling it EOS now. It used to be TEOS. Anyway, it's the IRS organization website. I want you to look up yourself on the IRS and see all the information that is public information on the IRS website about your organization. It's not private. People's tax information, if you're a taxpayer, that's private. Nonprofits, nothing's private. Everything's public information. You can pull up your past tax returns. I want you to see you can do that. And then also GuideStar. Go to GuideStar. If you haven't claimed your site, claim your site. Some people still use GuideStar. The GuideStar was the only one. They used to Freedom of Information Act everything. Like everything that was filed with the IRS, they just Freedom of Information Act everything. And they'd put it on the GuideStar site, which is really helpful. But now the IRS made all that public, but a lot of people still use GuideStar because you can put you can post your mission statement, and you can put your last brochure, and you can put all this other stuff, right? You want to tell a story about who you've helped. You put all that on GuideStar. People still use it. So claim your GuideStar site free, IRS site free. So you got 4 things to do. Give it about 10 minutes. Do not purchase a certificate of good standing. Unless your bank requires it, you will never need one. They try to sell you them all the time in the mail. You get like, oh, we'll help you participate. We'll get your certificate of good standing, and you just pay me this amount of money, and we'll get it. Like, don't. You'll never need one. You can look it up. It's an ancient thing that nobody needs anymore. Why? Because it's all online now. You can just see. Just pull it up. Yes, ma'am, in the back.
Fiscally sponsored organizations need to go through these compliance steps separately from their sponsoring organization?
That would be a question for your sponsoring organization. I would meet with them and say, hey, are you doing this stuff for me, or am I supposed to do this by myself? And everything on that first section, all 15 slides, like, I would look through That would be questions for your sponsoring organization. I don't know if there's a correct answer. A lot of places, I know like the Humane Society local chapters, they do everything themselves. Like they have all they have is a name. And they handle everything themselves. Some places are very particular. They want you to run your chapter a certain way, like Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, or whatever. Scouts now? I don't know. My grandson's getting into just Scouts now. It's great. So, yes, ma'am.
For the donations, like, there's campaigns of Norwest Give, Giving Tuesday, all that.
Yes.
Also, when we ask for donation, for our members or things like that, you said we had to fill out a different form?
No. It's all on that one form you file annually.
Okay.
It's like, I'm doing PayPal, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing Tuesday, I'm doing this. And like, you just make a list of everything you're doing all year, or everything you did in the past year.
Yeah. We can say, like if we have an event, we have 2 signatures events throughout the year.
Yeah, I would just list the events. We have 2 gala events. I mean, it's not, you don't have to go into super detail, because all the detail is gonna be on the tax return from the previous year that you're submitting to them.
But we don't put fundraising in those events, right? We don't say we are.
That is fundraising. Those events are fundraising. You are not in the business of putting on parties. You're in the business of teaching people to ride bicycles and, okay, you're not in the business of doing car washes. You're not in the business of selling wrapping paper or whatever, okay? Anything that's not what you're doing is fundraising. There's a big difference. And a lot of people get confused on that. It's like, what's fundraising? I'm like, charging for your services, it's not fundraising.
What about an annual membership fee?
Membership, it depends on what they receive for their membership. If you buy a membership to, hold on, what is it? It's the Crystal Bridges, but the Amazium. I belong to the Amazium. I buy an Amazium membership. What do I get with my Amazium membership? Parking, early entry on like 1 day entry to, I don't really get anything of value. It's just like perks. So perks that really don't have any value, you're not getting anything. So your membership fee is 100% donation, tax deductible. It's a donation. Is that fundraising? No, not really, because they're getting something for it. So fundraising is getting something, getting absolutely nothing in return. So a donation, you get a donation receipt. When you join the PTA, like, do we still have that? PTO?
Yeah.
With kids?
Yeah.
I know I got grandkids now, so like, I don't go there. But anyway, so like, the PTA, it's like $3 to join for the year, right? Or you can just like donate so much money. That is soliciting funds. So yeah, I would. Because you're not really getting anything for it, they're just soliciting funds. So it's a fine line. It's a fine line. Depends on if they're getting anything or not. Even if it's intangible things that don't really count as a thing. But if you have like a silent auction, they're getting a $20 gift certificate that they paid $80 for. So they're getting a $60 donation and a $20 gift certificate. That's fundraising. Okay, that's soliciting donations, getting people. So you really have to think about it like there's really no black and white. I can't say it's the same in everybody's case. I've had so many nonprofits that are kind of like, well, you gotta do it this way. And, are my membership fees? It really depends on what they're getting, and you really have to look granular. Each case is what you're doing. Yes, sir.
When I started Arkansas Beaver Committee, we went to a lawyer shortly after applied for our 501c3.
Mm-hmm.
It was Smith, Hurst, and Rogers.
Okay.
And they,
How long ago? Long time.
well, it's going on 2 years.
Oh, 2 years. Okay.
And she said that we can sell anything we want, we just can't take money out of the organization. That was fun.
Yes.
'Cause
And
we
that's
wanna do
fundraising, though.
construction.
Well, I mean, it depends on what you're selling. So are you selling like
River restoration,
right? So are you if you're selling like restoration?
restoration services.
Right. Well, that's they're charging for your service. That's not fundraising.
What if you use a machine? Or subcontracting to machine operators?
I'm not
If
sure.
you're
how it
restoring
works.
a river, you have design and you have construction.
But you're paying all those people.
Yeah, can we do both? Can we charge people to do
Oh yeah.
instruction.
Oh, yeah, you can charge for whatever you want.
Okay, so we just
Well,
can't
sit
take
down for
it,
2 seconds, this is interesting.
we just can't take it out of the company, that's what she said.
Right, I mean,
It's a
you can't
feature.
inure to the benefit, or it has to stay in the company, it has to do,
Must be related to the mission.
right, you have to be doing your mission statement with that money. Yes,
Right.
exactly, thank
Has
you,
to
Kim.
be- It has to be
And
related
you
to
don't
the
have
mission.
stockholders anyway, so.
No, you will not have, you cannot have
There's
stockholders.
nobody to take your money.
Right.
But
Yeah, it
but
has
if
to stay
you're, but
there.
if you're doing anything that's not connected directly to your mission, you may be subject to unrelated business income tax. So that
That's
it's-
very rare.
but it
Most of
can
the time
happen.
it's fundraising,
So
every time I've checked.
But there
it's
are
fundraising.
people, there are organizations, and these are gonna be larger
Yeah,
organizations.
like
that
you buy
have
a car
resources.
wash, sure,
Yeah,
or if you
but-
buy an unrelated bookstore, you
But-
know.
But let's say you're an environmental organization, and you
Yeah.
put out a calendar to raise money every year, and it has, and the calendar's pictures and its commentary promote environmentalism. That's your mission. You
That's
find it-
fundraising.
Yeah, and that's fundraising.
Because you're not a
That's what
calendar
you do.
business, yeah.
Well, sort of.
Yeah.
Because what happens is you say, I've got excess capacity, people like, this business really likes this calendar I'm doing, the way we do them. They've asked if we can make calendars for them. And we've said yes. Their calendars have nothing to do with environmentalism.
That's
That
unrelated business.
income is unrelated
So
to
we can
business
sell
income
t-shirts
tax.
as long as they have a beaver on them.
Yes,
Exactly.
exactly, absolutely.
Memorabilia,
Absolutely.
fundraising, stuff like that, yeah. As long as
I
it's
would buy a
something.
t-shirt with a beaver on it.
Okay, what's your name? I need your phone number.
She's teaching the next class, you have to come to her class.
That's one sold.
You have to come to her class. Everybody's gotta be in her class next. I'm coming to her class next, so I can run this stuff.
Your class is the
I
day
don't
before
remember
this.
ever doing this year, but somebody must have, because we're
We
there.
said we're virtual.
It says current.
Yeah, somebody,
No, we're tiny, but there is a.
You may not
It's
have
gonna
filed
be, this is
recently,
recorded?
but somebody
Yeah,
did.
they're recording it right now.
And I'll have my contact information, so you'll be welcome to reach out and ask me questions if you
No,
want.
so somebody, I'll have to
How
ask
did
one
you
of the
say
board
that?
members.
Subsequent
if
to
they
your
did.
I guess one of your board members is doing it for you, but that's something you should ask, who's doing it? You
Yeah.
just take
I
quick.
think I know.
Move on.
I know
Then
that.
you let it won't be done, everybody's like, why haven't you
The
just done
state
it in 10
actually
years?
requires you,
That needs it, right?
the state actually requires you
Nobody
to
knows
have
whose
those
responsibility
three
it
board
is.
members, one is the president, one is the treasurer, and one
We
is the
had a
secretary.
treasurer, but she's not doing
You
anything.
said Guide Star.
Oh, well, so you've got one name, so you just need to replace them.
GUIDSTAR, Guide Star. If you haven't been there, go there.
Secretary and everything else, but
That's a lot.
we need to have a treasurer.
How we doing on the homework?
Where are you located?
It's like everybody's on their phone doing stuff.
We'll talk later.
Okay, I'm pretty on card.
Streaming audience, I got you back in about a minute or two. Don't forget, don't go away, come back. Don't scroll away. I know it's on Facebook and it's hard.
So is this you?
Yeah,
Okay.
we need to update.
I don't believe it, anyway, I'm gonna finish by 11, but I'm gonna try
No, go, you can
really
go over.
hard. I'm gonna try at least be done by
I thought it was
11:15.
11.
And then if we have questions and wanna talk, or you can talk to Karis, or you can talk to me, work on her part or my part, whatever you wanna do, okay?
You can go over, it's fine.
But I'm not leaving here before 12. And, so, y'all wanna have a meeting or set a meeting or something like that, I'm good.
Everybody good? Oh, I still see people on their phones. Okay. I want everybody to finish their homework before they get out. Did we learn anything during the, who learned something here? She just learned that somebody's filing the form for her and filing the charity form, and she didn't even know. Somebody must be doing it. Somebody on the board must be doing it. So that's something we need to find out. Find out whose responsibility is to do this. Okay? Who files all these forms every year? Right, somebody knows all the stuff. Are we good?
She learned something.
Okay, good. I'm learning more from Kim than I'm teaching.
I've learned stuff.
I'm looking forward to your class.
I've been taking notes from you.
Okay, so that, and then remember the third class is going to be the end of January, I think?
The third class is in February.
February, and that's Melanie Palmer, and she talks about budgeting and how to make sure you keep everything going. So like, she does a lot of grant writing, fundraising. She's the one, you want to be here for that class. Even my streaming people, you want to be here if you want to meet Melanie. Kim over here is teaching next month, January 16th, and she talks a lot about compliance and
It's gonna be like, well,
I saw her slides, but I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry.
I'll probably be tweaking them between now and then, but it's more on like just financial management of the organization, budgeting, cash flow management, liquidity, financial policies.
Financial policy, liquidity, all those things, good accounting stuff, stuff that not my lane. I stay with government and compliance. But you definitely don't want to miss our class. You definitely don't want to miss Melanie's class. It's a 3-part class. For all my people streaming, I'm back. Hello. Make sure if you don't have the slides, if you're tuning in now, the slides are available at grassrootstaxes.com. Make sure you, right on that, just grassrootstaxes.com, right there on the front page, you can download the slides, you can download the packet. You will need the packet. This is where it gets difficult. Oh, we got one more question before we start. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, for the contractors, you said that, we have a contractor and we only give the W-2 form.
Right.
But you mentioned something about liability. If they, whenever we...
Workers' comp covers your 1099 contractors.
Do we have to have it?
If you have 1099 contractors, just because you're paying them on 1099 does not get you out of workers' comp requirements by the state.
But what about we tell them, we contract them for a year?
Doesn't matter. If they are working on your property and they get hurt on your watch,
Oh, we don't have an office.
I know, but if they're out helping people, I mean, you're teaching people to ride bikes. They could get hurt.
We have liability.
They could definitely get hurt. Insurance helps, workers' comp. They could make a workers' comp claim if they get hurt teaching a class for you. Talk to somebody that sells workers' comp. Review the law. I'm not an insurance salesman. I'm not licensed. I cannot give you detailed information on it. Talk to somebody who sells workers' comp insurance that's licensed that will give you the lowdown on that. I do have a guy in the packet. If you don't know who to call my guy in the packet. Okay? But you asking a lot of questions about insurance that I'm not legally allowed to answer. So I can advise you because I can tell you how it's going to impact you negatively, which we don't want negative impacts, but I can't tell you how to go about fixing your insurance problems. I do not have an insurance license. Okay, let's talk about federal issues. You ready? This is where it gets weird and scary. And we got to do math and stuff. Oh, man. All right, I'm going to make this as easy as you can, but it's not easy. You had 3 choices, right? 3 choices. We got the 990N e-postcard. It is not literally a postcard. They got rid of the postcard years ago. It's an electronic filing. It is free to file. I do have where to file, the IRS website. If you follow my links on there, it'll show you where to file it for free yourself if you qualify. You don't need an accountant. You don't need anything. 2 questions. Literally 2 questions. Question 1, did you make under $50,000 in gross receipts? Gross receipts being every dollar that came in, including donations in kind. So even if you got no money, but you received $100,000 worth of clothing that you gave away to poor people, right, or whatever, like, or unicorn food, or whatever you're doing, right? Okay, like, if you had $50,000 gross receipts or less in in-kind donations and financial donations and grants, every dollar in the door. If under $50,000, there's no financial data. The question is, did you take in under less than $50,000? Yes, I did. Who's signing the form? Here I am. Here's my address. Here's signing. That's it. That's the whole form. 2 questions. Who are you? And did you make less than $50,000? If those questions are true, you could file the N postcard. If you are a calendar year, right? January 1 to December 31, it is due on May 15th. If you are a different year, it is 5 months and 15 days after the close of your year, if you're on a school year or something, okay? That's the easy one. 2 seconds. Don't need an accountant. Don't even need to sign it. They just want to know who you are. Okay, second one, 4 pages. We're going to go over this one a lot in detail because everything that's on this one is on this one. Everything that's on this one is on this one. So we're going to do the medium form because that is doable by yourself. The long form, I really suggest you get an accountant. Okay? The medium form, people can do. You could qualify, right? Under $2,000 in gross receipts, under $500,000 in assets. So you could be getting a pretty decent grant. You know, 75, 100,000, get some stuff, have a few parties, you know, do some stuff, raise some money, do a lot of good. Easy form, 4 pages. It's not easy, but it's a lot easier in the 12-page form if you have over $200,000 in gross receipts. I have somebody who came to me and said, oh, we just do the 990 easy. It's the easy form, right? They didn't have very detailed bookkeeping. They didn't have very granular information that I needed for a longer form because they never did one. They got products, new products from a manufacturer that has an office, which is pretty much everybody, right? So like this large international company donated like, oh, I don't know, $50,000 worth of products to give away. That $50,000 in products never went on their books. It wasn't money. It never got deposited in an account. Nobody thought about it, like, right? So they never reported it. But when I asked them, well, what is all this events you're having? Oh, that's where we give our stuff away. And I'm like, what stuff? Where'd it come from? And she tells me she got $50,000 in products. And I'm like, you have to record that at the retail value that you gave it away. And that has to come into you at the retail value since it's new products. That put her over the $200,000 in gross receipts. We had to do the long form, and guess what? We had to start from scratch on her books. Do you think that cost her a little bit of money? Yes, she paid a new bookkeeper that I advised her to get to redo their books for the whole year because they were not keeping very good records. So if you're getting close, start doing this. Now, why would anybody choose to use a different form? Well, you can't choose down, obviously, but you could choose up. Why? I have a lot of people that were end postcard people, under 50,000, making like 10, 20,000 a year, did a little Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue, got a check from them, got a little check from this place, got a little $1,000 one from this place, did a lot of good, helped a lot of kids, unicorns, whatever. That was great. But I advised them, I was like, why don't you start reporting on the 990 easy? You show your balance sheet, you show your assets, you can put an impact statement, how many people you helped, how much money you gave away, how many kids or unicorns or dogs you saved or whatever. You can make it and that is public information on the IRS website. So when they come and look at ABC organization and they pull it up on the IRS website, they're like, oh, well, they did this much this year, they did that much last year. Oh yeah, I'll definitely write them a grant. Oh, then the grant money starts coming in, okay? So if you are doing an end postcard, because I don't have to do anymore, if you're looking to get grants, if you're looking to raise funds, if you're looking to grow your organization and get that big grant from the state, the feds, or the Walton Foundation, or whatever, you might consider doing a more difficult form that actually reports financial information so people can see your growth, they can see your impact. Because when you file that 990 postcard, when you pull it up on the IRS website, what do you see? Not a thing. Oh yeah, they filed. They're compliant. They filed their forms, but there's no financial data. There's no impact data. And impact is everything. Now, I don't really teach a class on this, but I tell everybody at the end of the year, you need to tell a story. And you can't tell your story with an end postcard. You need your story. You need to say, I helped 500 kids. I gave away this many feminine products. I gave away this much unicorn food. I provided this many books to school kids. We taught this many kids to read. We provided legal defense for 150 people at no charge. Like, whatever it is you're doing, you need to be able to tell your story everywhere you can. Because people aren't going to give you money if you're not making them cry. Unless you're puppies or children. If you have puppies or children, if you're involved with puppies and children, you're going to get money anyway. I have people die and give hundreds of thousands of dollars to like the Humane Society and stuff like, all the time, or their church. But like, if you're doing something more difficult than that, like, this is the only person I've talked to who tells me what they're doing, like providing restoration or bicycle, like giving women bicycle, like getting in shape and getting in a community of right cycling and stuff. Like, I mean, how do you compete with sad puppies? It's hard. It's really hard to compete with puppies. The puppies get all the money. So anyway, so you have to be able to tell your story. And a good way to tell your story is to make it public information. All right, let's talk about it. Actually, I just talked about this. All right, we talked about this, mostly. Oh, talked about good record keeping. I'm not even looking at the slides. I'm just teaching the class. I keep forgetting to change slides. But anyway, all right, good record keeping. Notice that last thing there, Schedule A, that's going to come into play. And it's going to come into play at a time when you don't expect it. It's going to come bite you. So we need to have good record keeping. You make sure you have a bookkeeper so he knows what they're doing. And make sure that the board reviews your tax return. Like, hey, we're filing the 990 postcard. Okay. You know, check. The board reviewed it. We're going to do the longer form this year. We're going to pay somebody to help us, and we're going to do a longer form this year, and we're going to tell our story. And okay, the board really needs to review that. The board needs to read every question on that 12-page form. Unless they have no idea and they're one of the artsy people that don't want to read that. But anybody that's on your board that's technical and they want to read every single question and make sure every question is answered correctly, it's 12 pages of check boxes. So make sure it's several board, generally the treasurer signs it, sometimes it's the president. Depends on how you run things. I'm good. But generally, if you had to pick somebody, it's the treasurer who's supposed to sign your tax return. All right, you ready? Hold on. We already talked about a lot of this. I'm kind of going fast. I'm trying to go fast, so. There's your 2 questions. We already talked about that. Oh, if you go to irs.gov, either search 990N or the 5248 form. Again, in your packet, you don't have to take pictures. It's all in there. That's how you file online. It takes like 5 minutes if you want to do the N postcard. It is required. Okay, everybody asks you, well, if I file late, what's the fine? If you're a 990N postcard filer and you've never filed anything else but the 990N and you forget, you can forget for 3 years and they won't do anything. If you go back and catch up, they're like, okay, that's fine, you're caught up. You file the 990N postcard for 3 years back, there's no fine. There's no late fees. Very simple. Once you start filing a longer form, the EZ form, the 4-page form, and start reporting financial data, then the fines kick in. Then they fine the crap out of you. Yeah. They fine you a lot. Yeah, the fines kick in, and it's every single month that you're late, they fine you for it. So, if you're small, I've been filing the 990N for like 10 years now. Like, it's mostly volunteer. Occasionally people give me money to help other people do their taxes or help stuff out. I help a lot of nonprofits out, but I keep it, but I really don't have any money go through it. It's mostly just volunteering my services, but in case I ever need it, I keep it. I did apply for a federal grant a few times. Oh, next one. Didn't get the federal grants. All right, medium form. This is where it's going to get weird, okay? Income categories. Everybody's like, income's income, right? Not anymore. You can't just go by, this is how much deposits we had in our checking account. That must be the correct number. We have categories of income. And yes, you need to, each one of these needs to be separate. And in your bookkeeping, if you get any of these things, they need to be in your bookkeeping, separate. Okay? We have separate income categories. Contributions and grants, money freely given with nothing in return except maybe an audit or whatever. All right. Program service revenue, that's charging for your services. Okay? That's program service revenue. That is revenue. That's money you're charging for your services, whether you're doing lessons or restoration or healthcare or legal services. If you're charging a minimal fee or even a regular fee, doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be a reduced fee. Right? Program service revenue. Right? Membership dues, also board dues. Some nonprofits have board dues. If you have a big board, you want to be on the board? It's going to cost you $1,000. It's going to cost you $10,000, right? Whatever. Depends what kind of board you have. Some churches are like that. They're like, hey, it costs you $10,000 to be on the board. And they're like, okay, we want to be on the board. I'm going to tell you how to spend our money, right? Some churches have boards of 20 or 30 people. Big churches have big boards. So if you charge board dues or membership dues, like from a little PTA $3 join fee, or like a Amazium. I have grandkids, right? Go to the Amazium a lot. I belong to the Amazium, right? I have a membership. I get in so many times a year. I can bring so many people. I have a permanent ticket. I have parking. I can get into the early events. I don't really get anything extra. It's just perks. Not a big deal, right? So membership dues, board dues, right? Fundraising. We were just talking about this in the back here a little bit. I don't know if everybody was here. We're talking about fundraising. You are not, in the business of washing cars, a car wash is fundraising. You are not in the business of party planning. So putting on a big party is fundraising, okay? You're in the business of helping people. If you are doing things to help people and following your mission, that is program service revenue. Fundraising is doing something else that's not your mission to raise money for your mission, okay? Selling M&Ms or candy bars for your local sports team, right? Kids all go around with their little box. They're not a candy business. That is fundraising, okay? They're a sports team, okay? So make sure that fundraising is fundraising, program service revenue is program service revenue. Got it? If you have questions, we can talk about that. If you have specific questions, let me know. Investment income, that's really important. It may not be important now, but the people, like I said, the puppies and all that, right? People die and give money to the sad puppies. And they'll give like 100. That's in investments, and that's earning dividends and interest, cranking out money. Investment income is not necessarily tax exempt. It can throw off, if you're mostly investment income, it can throw off your 501c3 issues. It can start making you taxable. So investment income, even if it's $10 in bank interest, make sure you keep it separate. We want good bookkeeping. Other sales and unrelated business income. Kim's going to talk about this in her class a little bit more because she apparently knows a lot more about this. Generally, if you have like a really big thing, like somebody dies and gives you a car wash, or a 7-Eleven, right? I'm going to leave my 7-Eleven to the Humane Society. All right, that's a business. Like that business has to pay taxes. The profits support you, but like if you have like a separate business, she gave a good example about calendars. Like say you buy a printing press and you start printing your own calendars, and somebody else wants you to print calendars, now you're in the calendar business. Now that's a separate business and you need to start. Is this happen a lot? No. Is this something you should sweat about now? No. If you think you have this problem, please talk to an attorney or an accountant, okay? Most of the time it's not unrelated business income tax. Most of the time it is fundraising. But it can get weird. So if it feels weird, talk to somebody who knows what they're doing. Don't guess. Don't guess. Oh, I think I have to pay taxes. No, you shouldn't be paying any taxes. You're a nonprofit. If you think you might have to pay taxes, please talk to a professional, okay? Gifts in kind. Everybody forgets to record this stuff. You need to keep a log of all the stuff people give you. Every time somebody, like Goodwill, right? They hand out those receipts, right? And somebody's inside saying, okay, we got 54 bags of clothes, and we got 42 boxes of books, and we got a bunch of other crap, whatever. We're going to put this much in the dumpster. We're going to count all this as, however they value it. How you value it and how the giver values it doesn't have to be the same thing. You value it at what you think it's worth, what it's worth to you. If somebody's going to donate their old living room furniture for your waiting room, great. But you have to write this stuff down, especially if they're donating $50,000 in products, right? Especially, okay. You have to put that down. Now, is there a way to do that in bookkeeping? Am I going to answer that now? I can answer that later. If you want to talk about how to do it in bookkeeping, how to record all this stuff, I can help you. I can't do that now. Okay. Now we're going to talk about the other side. Whoops, too far. Here's your expenses. You need to have this separated out. Okay? And you need to do it like this. So it's like, okay, so we've got office supplies, and we've got supplies for the gala, and we have payroll. No. Okay, you need to put it like this and make subcategories under these categories. This is it. If your chart of accounts doesn't look like this, it's wrong. Don't make a ton of things. Everything needs to be under one of these things, okay? Grants paid out if you are raising money to help other organizations, right? I don't know if anybody's doing that. If you're giving money to other organizations, grants paid out. Benefits for members, you probably don't have this, unless you're really big. Benefits for members would be like, oh, that free parking, or that, I don't know, if it actually costs you anything. Benefits for members, maybe you have a dinner once a year or something, or like a meeting to like annual meeting costs, something like that. Benefits for members, something like that. Not much. Okay. Salaries and employee benefits. Whether they're working in, it doesn't matter how they're working. Like if they're doing program stuff, if they're doing administrative stuff, it doesn't matter if you're doing this form. As we get into the longer form, it's going to matter. I'll get to that. Salaries, employee benefits. Contractors. You would have contractors. You're contracting out because you're subbing work out. Okay, that's contractors, not employees. Okay, contractors. Occupancy. What's occupancy? Rent, utilities, telephone, insurance, property tax. We're not paying property tax. Oh, yeah, right. You know, all those things to keep the lights on, to keep your building there. Occupancy, including insurance, everything else. Printing, postage, and shipping. Why is this a category that the IRS wants to know about? I don't know. But it's there. So does it say office supplies? No, it says printing, postage, and shipping. They want to know how much you know, like printed literature and like, are you mailing out flyers? I don't know why they want to know that. I think it's archaic. I think that's like last century stuff. Like, we just email, it's free, right? We don't spend money on this stuff. But anyway, that's a category. And then other. What haven't we covered? What's not here?
Fundraising expenses.
Yeah, fundraising expenses, but here, program service expenses. There's not one category on here. It's under other, of what you're really doing. There's nothing, I mean, it's like, why? Does the form make sense? No, the form does not make sense at all. So program service expenses are under other. Everybody's like, well, where do I put my expenses for? You have to put it under there. Like I have a daycare, a nonprofit church-run daycare. Grants paid out, none. Benefits for members, none. Oh, they do have some grants. They do pay for daycare, and not necessarily at their daycare. Sometimes they pay other daycares that are closer to the person's house. They do give money. They do give out scholarships. Salaries, contractors, occupancy. Obviously, there's a lot of occupancy in a daycare, right? Printing, postage, and shipping, zero. Program service expenses. I don't know. Diapers, baby wipes, art supplies, crayons, food, nap blankets. Like literally everything they do, 99% of their expenses is under other. Why is the form like this? I don't know. I could come up with a way better form that gave people way better information. If you need help, let me know. Next section. I think I actually have this form printed out. I do.
I got a quick question.
Yes, while I'm pulling
About
pages.
Program services. So if you're paying wages to your child care worker.
The wages are up top on the 990 easy.
It doesn't go in program.
The longer form starts breaking, the 12-page form breaks that out, and we're going to get to that. But you need all this information to, like, it's going to be the same on there, except it's broken out even more granular. But this is where you start. So you need this for that one. No matter which form you do, you need to have everything divided out this way. It will get more granular. It will. Page 12 through 16, 15, 16? We'll look at 16 next. But anyway, if you want to actually look at the form, so you know I'm not joking, okay? We're going to look at the form. You can kind of follow along with that one. We are going to go to I think part 2. Okay, we're going to talk about net assets. Okay, so it's on page 2 of the form, which is page 13 of your packet. It says part 2, balance sheet, at the very top. Well, page 2 of the form, it is page 13 down at the bottom. 13 of the packet. It's page 2, part 2 of the form. It says balance sheet. When you start the year, you take all your income, and then you have all your expenses. Whoop, I got a little bit of money left over. That's called net assets. Or sometimes you don't have money left over. Sometimes you have less money because you started out with a little bit of money and you spent that. It's okay. Doesn't matter. You're not paying taxes. It can be a positive number. It could be a negative number. But your net assets for the year, right? But then we have this page here, and I didn't want to put stuff here because it's too small. It's really hard. That's why I want everybody to have it printed in front of them. So page 2, part 2 of the form, it says balance sheet. And it tells you what the balance sheet is, all right? So we have what's in your checking account, how much money do you owe, out in bills, right? What's left over? That should be your net assets. So you have to figure your net assets just like this. Money in, money out, what's left over? Calculate it 2 ways, and they have to match, I think. So we have the statement of activity. All your money in, all your money out, it's your net assets, line 21. Statement of position or balance sheet, right? 99Z, part 2. What you have minus what you owe is your net assets. These two numbers need to be the same number. This is why I went to college. Okay? Because you started out at the beginning of the year with this amount of money. This much money came in, this much money came out, and you add up what you have left over, it should be what you have left over. And if it's not what you have left over, you missed something. Everybody misses something. I think one time in 30 years, I went through, and this is profit and nonprofit. Okay, this is businesses, nonprofit, everybody. I still have to figure it the same way once you make a certain amount of money. One time I had a $1 difference. Most of the time when I do people's books and I start filling out the tax forms and start comparing it different ways, I've been off by 500,000, 30,000, a lot. You missed something. Probably gifts in kind. That's a lot of people miss that. The gifts in kind in and the gifts in kind out. All right, you need to report everything. Does it ever work out? No. But you calculate that 2 different ways. I don't want you to stress over this now. I can't teach you accounting now. But you do need to have good records because those 2 numbers need to match if you're doing anything other than the end postcard. Even if you are doing the end postcard, you should really run these numbers anyway. I'll show you why. We're getting there. Remember that Schedule A we talked about? We're going to look at page 2, part 3 next, though, which is this part here. Right underneath that part that says balance sheet, it says statement of program service accomplishments. You have room for 3 programs. If you have more than 3 programs and you're doing this form, you probably have too many programs. You need to consolidate them. Okay. It's okay to have 1 program. It's good to have 1 program. Laser focus. You do 1 thing. I run a daycare for kids that is religious in nature. I teach religion to whatever, to little kids. And I also provide scholarships for people who can't afford to come. Right? You have to do 1 thing. They do 1 thing. You help people with bikes. You do restorations for people. I don't know what everybody else does. It's okay to have 1 program. Some people have more than 1. I talk about the Humane Society and puppies a lot because so they have like a spay and neuter program. They have a feral cat program where they capture cats and they take them in, they give them their shots, they spay and neuter them, they mark their ears, and they put them back where they found them. So that way they're not reproducing, but they're still killing mice, right? We need feral cats, right? So we don't get the plague, right? We learned that in 1500s. You need the cats. So anyway, they take care of the cats, make sure they're healthy, and put them back out there. They don't, right? So they're not making kittens everywhere, right? Okay. So they have that program. They have a couple other programs where they pay for emergency medical care. If you need emergency veterinary care and you're poor, whatever, you're homeless and your dog needs surgery or whatever, they pay the veterinarians to do the surgery, right? So they have a number of programs that are specifically different things. That's great. I really wouldn't list more than 3. I mean, some people have more, but like you want to be focused. People want to know what you do. I do like 9 different things, like I do other stuff. Like I have a nonprofit that's like that. I'm like, you need to figure out what you're doing and do it. You need to be able to say, this is what I did. This is how many people I helped. This is what I do. This is why I need your money and why you need to give to me and not the Humane Society. Okay. I think we talked about this. Yeah. So in this form, oh, I covered up the form. In here, you have a very small amount of space. It is what? 1, 2, you get 3 lines in 8-point font. Very tiny to tell people what you did. Okay? This is where you shine. It wants the expenses, how much money you spent on a program, how much money you got in grants for that program, and then you want a description. And this is where we get out to Kleenex. Okay? This is where you tell people how important it is, because this is public information. And you want to write a story. You want people to cry as much as they cry over a sad puppy, right? You want people to know that what you're doing is important, okay? This is where we shine. Oh, wait, hold on. I think I have another slide. Hold on. There we go. This is where we shine. We brag. Brag, 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 brag. You do not be shy here. Brag about what you do. Be the superstar. Don't be afraid of that. Numbers. I gave scholarships to 13 kids so their parents could go to work because they didn't qualify for daycare. They didn't qualify for vouchers. We provided 500 animal surgeries. Of course they did. They get all the money, right? Numbers, quantify. Tell them how many people you helped. Okay? I'm going a little over here. Hang on, I'm going to go a little faster. A clear mission statement. Clear mission. What do you do? If I walk up and say, what do you do? What do you do? You don't know. What do you do?
Provide educational opportunities for social workers and conferences.
Yes! She did the homework. Okay. That's what I need. Anybody ask you what you do? If you can't spit it out in one sentence, learn to do that. Practice. Practice. Have people know what you do. Put it on your website. Tell them what you do. Clear mission statement. And clear programs. Okay. Mission statement's what you're going to accomplish. Programs are how you're going to do that. Right? Program, even if you have one program, how are you doing it? So when you describe your programs, we decide, how am I doing this? All right? Raising money to whatever it is you do. Okay. Important questions. This is further on in the form. Now, there's all these questions. If you look on the next page, page 3, what do you see? Page 3, page 4, what do you see? Look at all those check boxes. Okay, on the longer form, it's like 10 pages of check boxes. This is what you need to know. That's what they're asking you. Did you make any changes to your organizing documents, your mission statement, or your programs? Do you do any lobbying? If you do any lobbying, you have to disclose it. It has to be minimal, right? Not a certain percentage, just minimal. What do you think is minimal? 5%, 10%? Small amount. You can't spend a whole lot of your resources on lobbying. You can lobby little. You have to keep very good records of what you're doing is lobbying. You have to set that day aside. It's like, today's lobby day. I'm going to have everybody write letters, okay? Set aside your time. Keep track of how much time and money you're spending lobbying. Loans to and from related parties. So if you have to loan the company money to keep it afloat, okay, I have people leaving. I'll try to go faster. Unrelated business income. We talked about that. If you have any of that, you need to answer a lot of questions on that. File a separate form. Foreign dealings and accounts, they want to know. And also, Bitcoin, like virtual coin money, Ethereum, Bitcoin, what's the word I'm looking for? Cryptocurrency, thank you. That's going to be on there too. Foreign dealings, foreign accounts. Do you help people in foreign countries? Do you have money in foreign countries? Do foreign people send you money? They're going to ask you a lot of questions about that. Does any of that negate your 501c3 status? No. Do you have to disclose it? Yes. You can get away with a lot if you disclose it and write a paragraph. Everything needs to be disclosed. Anything questionable needs to be disclosed. Okay. And, okay. Lobbying. You can elect a lobby and report your lobbying. It's form 5768, I believe. There's a form for that. It's in the packet. There should be a reference to it. You can lobby. You can report your lobbying on a separate form. You do want to disclose everything. And changing laws is great. We're never gonna get anywhere unless they change laws, right? You want the laws in your favor.
What do you say lobby means?
To influence either your legislators, direct lobby, writing letters to the people who are making the laws, or educating people on a specific issue, trying to get them to vote a particular way. Not for a candidate. Never, 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 never. Never for a candidate. Don't do it. You may not get caught, you might get away with it, but don't do it. Diane says don't do it. Yes, ma'am?
If you hire a lobbyist,
If you hire a lobbyist,
where is
that is reporting. You need to report that you hired a lobbyist. There is forms for that. It is fine to do that. You are perfectly okay with, as long as it's insignificant, as long as it's not your major, you're allowed to lobby. I have several companies, who, especially dealing with immigrants, that constantly send a stream of letters off to legislators, constantly educating people on how to vote and what to vote for. And
Is there a set amount of money you'd be like, hey, be careful?
you know, if we have to quantify it, I have a couple of places that say 5%, but that is not, it has to be a minimal amount. It can't be your focus. It can't be a program. It has to be a minimal side gig, okay? Now.
Has that rule changed in recent times? Because I read somewhere that we can't do lobbying, and I think our law.
You shouldn't do lobbying. Everybody should advise you not to do lobbying, but you can do a minimal amount of lobbying. Minimal amount of lobbying. You are not forbidden from writing to your legislators or having your board write to legislators or have your members write to legislators or people help you. And you are not stopped from you can educate people on the law and not try to influence them. They can draw their own conclusions. Education's fine, but if you are encouraging people to vote a certain way, that is lobbying, and you need to disclose that. You need to disclose all of it. Okay. Schedule A. Remember I said if you had bad bookkeeping, it's going to come back and bite you. The minute you get big enough that you go from that N postcard and you start filing the EZ, you need to file Schedule A. They want to know where your support comes from. They want to see where all your money's come from. And you have to report the past 5 years. And if you haven't been keeping records, I'm an N postcard, I don't need bookkeeping. Yes, you do. Because you need to report where all your money's come from for the past 5 years, whether it's investments, right? I told you, remember that investments? I said it would bite you. Here it is. Schedule A is where it's going to bite you. Okay, first part, Schedule A, is you have a Schedule A, I think. Hold on. It is page 16 of the packet. It is page, well, Schedule A of the form. It has its own form number, okay? It's like this. Top part is a bunch of questions. First page, a lot of questions. Where do you get your money? Most people, I have it down here because I forgot to put it on the slide. Most small organizations are going to check box 10. You get more than 33% of your funding from a wide, I spelled that wrong. A wide variety of supporters. You are a public charity. 501c3 is a public charity, which means you get your money from the public. Okay, you do not get it from one person. That makes you a private, that makes you a foundation. Okay, you have to get your money from the public, from taxpayer dollars, which would be question 7 if you get federal grants or state grants. Mostly, that would be box 7. Most of you are going to check box 10, which is more than 1/3 of your funds. So, if like 70% of your money comes from, say, investment interest or dividends from that person who died and lived, do you think you're still a 501c3? Yeah, you can lose it. You need to spend it. You can't hatch your money and have a whole lot of investments. You need to be spending it. Okay? You're either going to file part 2 or part 3. They're the same. I don't think I printed out the chart, did I? It would be page 17 if I did. Let's see if I can find page 17. Oh, it is. Page 17. Okay. If you do public support, you're going to file at the top. If you get like federal public support, total support, no. Anyway, okay, this is part 2. This is the one. They're both exactly the same. The part 2 and part 3. They're exactly the same page. It's just some people get most of their money from the government. Some people get most of their money from public. It's the exact same form. Why do we need 2? I don't know. I don't make the forms. Do I have a slide for this? Let's see. Part 3, here we go. Nope. Okay, we're just gonna go off this because it was too small to put on here. It's pretty tiny. So we start at the top, gifts, grants, contributions, membership, right? Do not include any unusual grants. Interesting. Unusual grants. Now, this came up a lot of times. I haven't gotten unusual grants yet. So a lot of people are like, well, $50,000 a year on the postcard, right? What if I get 1 year and I get a $250,000 grant from one place, one time, and I'm never going to get it again? It's like build a building. Does that negate everything? Does that make me a private foundation? Thanks for coming. Does that make me a private foundation for that one grant? No, it's an unusual grant. Does it throw out my public charity status because I don't have a wide variety? I don't have 33% of my funding coming from, no. An unusual one-time grant that you're not going to get again, if it's a lot of money, does not change your status. It does not take away the ability to file a 990N postcard. It does not change your 33% rule. Would I get professional help if this was the problem? Yes, get professional help. Get somebody that's going to explain all this on forums and make sure the government knows what they're doing, okay? So, tax revenue. Be lucky if you, I'd love to get some tax revenue, right? Value of services or basically gifts in kind, okay? And then the bottom, total support, which would be gross income from interest, dividends, unrelated business activities, other income. Okay, so the top part is going to be stuff that counts as public support. Stuff down here does not count as public support. This needs to be at least 30% of your total income to make you a public charity and not a private foundation. You need to go back 5 years. That's the most important thing. Once you have to start filing this form, when you have to go to the EZ form, you need to go back 5 years. If you don't have 5 years, there's a box here to say, hey, we're in the first 5 years. But you do need to file the public support. Okay? So you need to have what? Good bookkeeping! You need to have good bookkeeping 5 years back, even if you're just a 990N postcard. Okay? Let's go forward. I think we're almost done here.
Take your time.
Okay. Disqualified persons. Well, I just have people leaving, so. Disqualified persons. At the bottom, money given by disqualified persons does not count as public support on this. Okay, to prove your public support. So if it's the board's spouse, the board's kids, the board's close business associates, if that doesn't make public support. You got to be raising money outside your organization. Okay? First 5 years doesn't count, but once you get 5 years down, the money can't all be coming from you. That's just why I have no money go through my organization, because I don't want to disqualify myself. And again, anyone closely involved with the board, business associates, right? So, my favorite line. Well, what if I don't say they're my cousin? Or what if I don't tell anybody he's my brother? Like, okay, it's great. He gets sued. Right? And then all this comes out, and then the IRS is like, oh, you're doing shady stuff. Now we're going to bust you on everything. Yeah, so don't lie on the tax forms. Just close everything. And, you know, if you need help and you think you're going to lose that public charity where you're not getting enough, right, you need to see a professional before you get into that problem, okay, before it becomes, because it's a last 5 year average, all right? So there's a lot of room for stuff. But, you know, if you're scamming the industry and you're not really a 501c3 and you're just laundering your own money, you're a private foundation, which is also tax deductible, just on a different level, and that's like a 25-page form. So, I think I'm going to answer any questions with this slide here. What does this really mean? What are you talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about, Diane. I'm just going to bring them all in. Whoop. If you're not a public charity, you're a private foundation. Private foundations are also tax-deductible 501c3s. But they have different rules, and the form is Oh, you don't even want to know. Those private foundation forms are like 20 pages. They have so many attachments. 990 PF if you want to look it up. It's crazy. You don't want to be a private foundation unless you're really a private foundation. Who's a private foundation? I don't know. The Walton Family Foundation, where most people probably get money from, right? So if I'm a private foundation, can I still take tax deductible donations? Yes, of course. And we talked about unusual grants. Okay. Don't stress over the Schedule A. If you're not sure, if most of your money is coming from donations and stuff, just fill it out. Not a big deal. Keep track of it every year. Keep track of where your money's coming from. All right. Is charity even deductible anymore? I don't know. Does anyone take tax deductions anymore? Most people, when I go to do their taxes, they give me all this charity stuff. They're not itemizing deductions anymore. If you live in Oklahoma, Missouri, you're not deducting it anywhere. It doesn't count. Now, a couple changes. Arkansas, the itemized deductions are like, for a married couple, like $4,500. So if you have a mortgage, there's a good chance you're itemizing the state of Arkansas. So they will count on the state of Arkansas. What about business? C corporations can deduct. They have to, if they're deducting any charity, they have to give at least 1% of their profit away for any of it to count. C corporations, like, I don't know, Walmart, Harps, grocery stores, right? They're encouraging C corps to give away more charity. So if you are going out hustling, maybe C corps is where you want to be, rather than individual donations, because they can deduct. Federal. If they're a C corp, they can still deduct most of their charitable donations. In fact, they have to give away a minimum amount of money in order to get the deduction at all. So they're encouraged to give away more money. Yes, ma'am.
Is that encouragement a fairly recent change?
Yes.
I just know anecdotally.
Yes, that's for 2026.
Thank you.
That was one big beautiful bill. That 1% is in the one big beautiful bill. So if they want to deduct any charity, they have to give at least 1% of their profit away for any of it to count. So it kind of encourages, and that's one big beautiful bill that goes into effect January. So you start your fundraising in January. Yes. Oh, there it is. This is another one big beautiful bill thing. You can give away $1,000 and deduct it on your taxes, even if you don't itemize. Remember we did this back in like 2020, 2021? Hold on a sec. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. I coughed in the microphone. Starting in 2026, not this year, not filing in 2026, filing next year. So starting in January, you can give away $1,000, and there's going to be a spot for it on the front page where you can deduct that, giving away charity. So that's new. Not this year, but next year, you're not fundraising. Yes, you can. So keep track of that. Look it up. And be like, hey, you can deduct $1,000 in charity. Give it to me. Me. You need to give it to me.
Married filing jointly could give away $2,000?
Yes, sir. It's per person. Per person. Good question. I should have said that. If you do itemize, this is worse. You have a 0.5% floor. This is the same thing with the corporations. You have a half. So if you're itemizing, which not many people itemize, but if they're itemizing and they want to take more than that $1,000 and they want to deduct any charity, they have to give away 0.5% of their AGI. There's a floor. Once you exceed that, you can deduct it all. You have to. So they're encouraging people to give more to charities because the government's doing less for people. So we have to help each other. So look up these laws if you want specific. Like I'm going to make like little cards or something if you want. I haven't done that yet, but you should be able to share that with your charities as we go on. And the corporations, we talked about that, the 1% floor for a corporation. So corporate donations, private donations. There's a minimum. So your big donors, right, the ones that you're sure itemizing because they have a lot of, like people with a lot going on, right? Okay. We're getting to the end. We're getting to the end. Long form. So we talked about all the stuff you need for the 990 EZ. You need all that plus these things if you're going to do the long form. Over $200,000 in income, over $500,000 in assets, either one. Donor advised funds. I want to tell you a story. I had a church as a client. They decided these people with a few dollars stacked up wanted to join this small church. It was a very small church and a very specific mission. They also ran a school for kids that had gotten kicked out of other schools, like problem kids. So they ran a school, the school supported the church, everything was copacetic, right? Everybody was happy. So this person with a little bit more money and a little bit more attitude decided to join this church, and they started giving a lot of money. So they bought themselves a position on the board. They started changing how things were done. They changed the whole mission. They bought their way into this church and changed the whole mission. They closed the school. They're like, oh, we need to pay the pastor a salary, and we need to do this. We need to grow the church. We need to spread. Like, that's not what they were about. People with money can change your mission. Donor-advised funds. The only people that have any authority over how you spend money other than your board is your donors. There was a victims of crime grant recipient that I worked for a while. And somewhere in this victims of crime, they put a gift card and gave it to the board and said, here, I want you to use this to buy new undergarments for people that have their clothing taken as evidence and they're sent home with no undergarments or in sweatpants after they were the victim of a crime, which is horrible. They had that gift card. They had to spend the entirety of that gift card just going out and buying undergarments, right? What if they didn't want to do that? What if they wanted to use it to pay the electric bill? What if the donor never found out? I don't know. Maybe they didn't find out, but they didn't use it for what it was supposed to be used for. And I'm like, you can't do that. That's donor-advised funds. The donor has control. So it's like, oh, I want to give money. So like, especially churches are like, oh, money for the building fund, love offering for the guest pastor, love offering for this. You write on the check or you make a donation for specific things. You get a receipt at the end of the year that says, oh, this is all the money you gave for this fund and this fund, right? You got to have that. So your money, if you're donating money, it has to go for what you say it goes for. What if you don't want to do that? What if you're in a victims of crime thing and people gives you $100,000 to take care of unicorns in the backyard? Can you take the money? You could. But you'd have to take care of unicorns with it. It can change your mission. It can change the whole field. Donor-advised funds are very dangerous. But they can also be very beneficial. Be very careful. When somebody comes in with a big wad of money, like, well, you need to do this with it. Because they're in charge of how you spend it. And you don't have to take it if you don't want to do that. Be very careful. Don't be lured in by the money if that's not what you want to do or if it's not your vibe. I hope my streaming audience, streamers, you still out there? Hi, everybody. Okay. Number of volunteers. Individual human beings that volunteer with you. Not how many hours. Right, well, that helps. They cannot deduct that as anything. They don't get anything for it except, I don't know, treasures in heaven, right? I don't know. I don't know. But you need to keep a list of every individual human volunteer you have, not how many times they come in, right? Every individual human. You need to keep track of that. You need to report your number of volunteers if you're doing the long form. Conflict of interest, document destruction, whistleblower policies. It asks if you have them. You can say no. You should probably say yes. Document destruction policy, how long do you keep people's personal information before you shred it? Especially if you're providing health care. Whistleblower policy, if I see you cheating and I turn you in, you can't sue me back for, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, there has to be like a no revenge whistleblower policy. If you know somebody in your organization is breaking the law, they have to be free to report that. And you need to have a policy for that. Conflict of interest, you all should know what that is. You all should have one. Everybody should have a conflict of interest policy. No matter how big or small you are, you need to have a way to resolve your conflicts of interest because there's always going to be one. You can't be you and the person you're buying property from. You can't be you deciding how much your salary is going to be. That's a conflict of interest. Or approving your reimbursements for stuff you bought. Like, there has to be a conflict of interest policy so you can step aside the other board members, right? They're very simple. Look it up. Make sure you have one. The other two, if you're doing the long form, I strongly advise you have them. Policies and procedures for determining compensation. There's like a whole page of questions on that. How do you determine what you're getting paid. Let's think about a few. I hate bringing up churches because they have less regulation, but how do they decide how many millions the pastor gets paid in these mega churches, right? Who decides that they're not going to feed the poor, and they're going to buy this guy a helicopter or an airplane? Like, I don't know. You need to disclose that. If you're a nonprofit and you're not a religious organization filing as a church, you need to report all that. How you decide how much you get paid. You have to have a policy for how much everybody gets paid and how you decide on other people's compensation. I don't know, what's the nonprofit next door paying their people, right? You got to come up with something. There's ways to do that. We can talk about that. Far more room for detail on program accomplishments and impact. Instead of having 3 lines in an 8-point font, you can write a story. I wouldn't make it too long of a story because they are read by people, especially your donors. But you want a good impact paragraph. You can write a lot. You can really pull out the tissues, right? Get everybody crying, right? And then the expense matrix. I promise, this is it. This is the hard part. I saved it for the last. It is page, I mixed them all up again. I think it's the last one. 18? I think it's the last page. I call my long form expense matrix. I need you to look at this. Everybody need to get one out, especially streaming people. Page 18. This is where I said it breaks it out more. You got to have the same categories, but now it's broken out this way too. Not only is it broken out this way, income, all those income categories, all those expense categories, but now it's broken out this way. Is it program service expenses? Did you spend this helping people on your mission? Management and general expenses. This is overhead. So, right? So a lot of times I split it, like how much is overhead and how much, well, we need the building to provide the services. Right? So I usually split like the rent, utilities and stuff like that. I usually split it between program and overhead. So like, what's overhead? I mean, it depends on like who's getting paid to do what. Like, I don't know. Do I keep track of every minute of every day? Probably not. How much is overhead? How much is that? And then over here, fundraising. Fundraising is pulled out in its own category. I hate bringing up other nonprofits. I don't want to talk crap about people, but here we are. Look up public television. Look how much money that's in this fundraising category. Any of our public television stations. It's like 85% of fundraising. They're just a fundraising machine. It's like 15% goes to programs. What's the minimum amount you could spend on programs? Anybody know that number? 5%. You can blow 95% of your money on overhead and fundraising and put 5% of your income, and they will not take you down. That is sad. I don't make this up. Do you think that, well, I know, but this is what I'm looking at. This is what I look at a lot. How much money these people spend on fundraising, how much they spend on programs. If I would look at one page to make a judgment on where I would give my money if I suddenly won the lottery, this would be the page I'd look at. How much money are you spending on stuff? And how much money are you spending on helping people? And then I would look at the program impact. And so I'm going to know how many people you helped last year with this money. That's where you want to put it, okay? So you need to look at this page, and you need to make sure that your QuickBooks or your Xero, I love Xero, by the way. I absolutely love Xero, Xero, my favorite software. I hate QuickBooks. I used to love it. I was a QuickBooks fan for many, many, many years. They may be mad for the last time I'm switching to Xero. All my clients are going to Xero. I love Xero. It's much easier. And you can run one category this way. So you can have, you can pull up 2 separate ways to sort things. You can have 2 sort categories. So you can sort by what was fundraising, what was management, what was overhead. And then you can also sort what program things were for, or something like that. You can have 2 different sort categories, whereas QuickBooks never did that. You can have, if it's set up, what?
That's basically classes.
Yes, but there's 2 sets. You can have 2 completely different sets of classes. QuickBooks only gives you 1. You can just...
That's might be 6 or 7.
No, 6 or 7 classes.
Yeah.
I know, But then you can just erase those, have another whole set of classes and sort everything a completely different way. So yes, you can, what was fundraising, so you can have fundraising, office supplies, blah, 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 you know, this, like, you can break it up that way. Makes it a little more granular. XERO0, my favorite, I don't sell anything, I don't get a commission from them, I'm sorry. I wish I did, because, all right, so here we go, final breakout. Review forms, notes, ask any questions. Most important, a piece of homework, schedule a meeting with your board and talk about all this stuff. Streaming audience? Yay! Okay, questions over here.
One of the main reasons I came here today was to learn, when I first started the Arkansas Beaver Committee, I went to lunch with a guy, and he's executive director of one of the largest nonprofits in Arkansas, in conservation. I asked him about taking grants from Walmart, Tyson, and stuff, because I didn't think you should. And he said that if you, it's just what you said, if you take a grant or donation from them, they will change your organization.
They
So
can.
I told
No,
him that
the
there's-
Walton Family Foundation grants,
Yeah.
they have very little reporting back. They're very lenient. You just really need to give them an impact statement. They don't make you get an audit. Basically, it's an impact statement at
Is
the end
that
of the
different
year.
from a grant? A donation and a grant?
They're grants. You have to apply for them. It's a donation.
It's the
At the
same
end of the
thing?
day, it's the same thing.
Okay.
But
same
a
thing.
grant is something you ask for, and then you have to fill out a form, and then you have to report back to them and tell them how you spent your money. The Walton Family Foundation grants are very lenient. If you tell them, I'm going to do this, 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 and this, at the end of the year, you pretty much send them a statement saying, this is how I spent your money, this, 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 and this. You do not need it audited. You do not need it signed by an accountant. They do their due diligence. They make sure you file your forms. They make sure you're soliciting forms.
I think they got
Secretary of
on-
State. I mean, they look at all that stuff and make sure you're in
I
compliance.
think they got on his board.
Oh, that's a different story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I
Now,
was
if you want them on
worried
your
about
board,
it.
that's great. But you can get like $10,000-$20,000 grants from them fairly easily, especially if it's for
And not get in
conservation and
trouble
environment.
with,
Yeah, conservation, environment, arts. They support a lot of people like that. Yes, ma'am, in the back.
So, when a baby nonprofit is starting, it is
Yes.
often, you know, a group of friends and often
Yes.
event or fundraiser based, right? And it's often cash accounting.
Yes.
As you move up through the easy 990 all the way up to the 12-pager, when do you flip that switch to accrual?
It really depends. It really depends. You may not need to.
Okay.
You are not required. Unless you are getting really, really big. I mean, like, where you require an audit every year.
Yeah.
If you're gonna require, like, if you make that $500,000 and you're required to have an audit every year, the auditor is gonna be like, y'all need to be doing.
Okay.
But if you don't have a lot of debt,
If there's no debt.
or
there's
a
no-
lot of promised, like, pledges, like churches take a lot of pledges and
Yep.
stuff, where they pledge and then they pay every week or something like that. If you're not taking anything where you have a lot of receivables or a lot of payables,
Okay.
it's not gonna change. It's not gonna be any different.
Okay.
And there's really not a requirement for like how you have to do your accounting. You can do it any way you want. I mean, stick with cash accounting as long as you can, because you can't count on that money until it's there.
Okay.
And I'll talk about that in my session.
Perfect.
Because I'm a fan of modified cash accounts.
Yeah, well,
It's
yeah,
a lot easier, so then you just have lines about what my adjustments to accrual.
exactly. Modified cash is good. I wouldn't, I mean, if you're really big and you're getting, and you're required to have an audit every year, at that point, when you're required to have an audit, like if you get a victims of crime, I don't know what you're doing, but I mean, the victims of crime grants from the state require audits. Anything over $500,000 requires an audit. If you're getting an audit, then
No, I'm asking more sort of from as I look at other nonprofits and try to think about how
cash
to
accounting,
professionalize them.
cash accounting's your friend.
Okay.
Unless you have a lot of debt. I mean, if you have credit cards and debt, yeah, I don't like that face, but yeah, if you have credit cards and debt,
I mean,
yes.
I don't have anything.
Okay.
But it's more like orgs that I've been talking to.
Yeah,
Trying
if they
to
are accumulating
advocate
debt,
for
which
them.
they absolutely should not be accumulating debt, then they would have to report that, and that's accrual at that point, pretty much. It's dangerous ground to get into.
You said on like you know, if somebody donate, like in-kind donations on food, we give them a letter of in-kind donation. but
Yeah,
we
just
don't-
like they do at Goodwill, just make it out and write down what they gave you.
Do we put a dollar amount based on how much?
Do not put it on their receipt. That's between them and their tax man.
Okay, but on the letter we give it to them, we don't put.
No amount on any gifts in kind,
Okay,
unless they're giving you like new stuff that they just bought. So they go to Walmart and, you know, they buy you $100 in groceries for your food pantry or something, and they give you the receipt. Well, then, yeah, you have that exact amount. If it's new, I mean, if they bought something for the organization, that's money, that's not gifts in kind. They just went and spent the money and they just spent the money for you and saved you a step. That's an exact dollar amount. But things that you have to put a value on, put a value of something on it. I mean, I go with like retail value, but if you don't know, you don't know. You don't know if they got it all on the, like the couponing people that get everything for like a nickel at CVS, you know, and then they like donate it all. You know, people do that a lot.
yeah,
You don't know you don't know what they paid for it. That's not, you know, that's for you.
But if somebody donate the money to pay the, let's say, the DJ, then we give a month of the money.
Yes,
cash.
absolutely. And you have to format it like that receipt that's in the packet and make sure no goods or services were received. We are a 501c3. It may be tax deductible. Don't ever say it is. It may be tax deductible. Maybe. So, yes, ma'am.
One question I have is about questions about payroll and paying workers, because in our organization, which is literary, and we publish a literary magazine, most people are either volunteers or they are receive an honorarium. So per
An
issue.
honorarium.
So like $150.
Okay, like a small amount.
Right, the most
Okay.
anyone gets paid, and that's the managing editor, is $3,000 a year. So.
I can't give you a legal answer for everybody in the room in the streaming audience.
But, right. But, yeah.
Do they edit? Are they a professional editor that does other editing things for another company?
No, but in other words, they have those skills. They're usually people who have an MFA or.
Okay, it's somebody that's credentialed or
Yeah,
something?
exactly.
Okay, yeah, because if you're paying me to do your taxes, I'm not your employee.
Right.
Like, I'm bringing a skill set and a profession. So if it's somebody that has a skill set and a profession that they're bringing to you and they're charging you a fee, that's fine.
Oh, okay, so in other words, it's.
They're not really your employee.
Okay, got it.
But an employee is somebody you tell them what to work, where to work, what to wear, look at the 20-question test, and what, do you provide the tools, do you provide them training? And if they're doing it on their own computer with their own skill set,
Right.
they're a contractor.
Yeah.
Definitely. More? Anybody?
What if you do surgery on a puppy one day and a surgery on a unicorn next? You have to report it separately? No? I just wondered.
That was great. That's my best question all day. Anybody else? My pens are on the back table if you want my number or my email address or my website. It is there. I generally don't answer the phone much because like days like today, I don't even know where it is. Dan doesn't answer the phone. My phone is answered sometimes during tax season. But you can always text me or email me if you have a question. Happy to answer questions all the time. YouTube channel. I haven't put anything out since July. I've been on kind of hiatus because I have 3 grandkids and they needed childcare. Anyway, I've been full-time childcare for a while. Anyway, I haven't had time for the YouTube channel. Should be getting back to YouTube channel posts and stuff in January, I hope.
What's your YouTube channel called?
Grassroots Taxes, everything, just Grassroots Taxes, anything on the internet is all me. I'm on all the social medias, YouTube, TikTok, all those things. I usually put out video content pretty frequently. I have a blog. My website is getting reorganized. So all my content that's relevant will be available on my website. You'll be able to look at all my YouTube videos, all my blogs. She's not quite done yet. Anyway.
Thank you, Diane.
I totally left Karis 5 minutes before they're going to start vacuuming.
It's all good, it's all good.
Do you have like there's an organization or